You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Final day of June. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this Thursday? Thanks so much for being with us. Hope your week's going well. We're over the hump together here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Good mood today, fired up, got a good day planned, had a great day yesterday.
Really? What'd you do?
Played golf yesterday and witnessed something pretty damn cool. Guy I played with, it was his birthday, and he went to the 18th hole with an opportunity to shoot his age. He had to birdie 18 to shoot his age, and he ended up bogeying the hole because he tried to chip in from just short of the green and ran it a good bit past. But he turned 68 and nearly shot 68.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
It was impressive.
Filthy at golf.
6 birdies. It was kind of fun to watch.
It is cool when you play with somebody who shoots under par.
Absolutely, especially when the way we play is that your foursome is your team. So we just whipped that guy all the way around the course. You will love this, David, because I told him before the round, we're wishing him a happy birthday. And when he said he was 68, I said, all right, well, let's shoot your age today.
Come on, you did not.
Absolutely, I did. And when we
What's
made
his handicap?
1, 2, 3,
okay.
somewhere.
I was going to say, because that's not normally something.
No,
I mean, when you're less than 70, you don't normally say, hey, go shoot your age today.
well, and me being me, David, he birdies 8 and 9 to shoot 35 on the front. And they're 2 of the tougher holes on the golf course. And he makes 2 great birdies, back-to-back holes, and we're getting water at the turn. And I just looked at him very matter-of-factly, and I says, you're really going to need to pick this up. I said, if we're going to do this, we
Right.
really this thing going. And he proceeds to double the 10th hole. So now you don't think of it. And then all of a sudden, he birdies 11. He had 6 birdies in 9 holes. I mean, just this run of golf. And
Right.
and then all of a sudden,
You start adding it up.
all of a sudden he birdies 16 and he birdies 17. And
Uh-oh.
we're like,
Uh-oh.
huh? So it was a lot of fun to watch. And then had a nice dinner with the wife and daughter and mother last night. So no, I had a great hump day yesterday.
All right. That's awesome to hear.
And then taking my daughter and my buddy, his granddaughter's in town, the 4 of us, with his son, the 5 of us actually going to go to the beach today because they're in from out of town. So they're going to see a little sand, a little sun, maybe a shell or 2.
That's awesome.
I'm being a tourist today.
Wow. Tell you what, I want to have your life.
For
All
2
right.
days, David. Don't kid yourself.
It's great though. It's great 2 days. Get you to the weekend, and you can't really screw it up from there. Hopefully, man. There's a lot going on. I commented before the show that you would think this is the fall. I mean, I understand we don't have much or any football to talk about, but otherwise, there is a lot going on. Normally, this time of the year, sports talk show hosts are looking at one another going, oh, man, it's going to be a long show. What is it?
Got to get to football. God, when is football going to get here?
Yeah, it's going to get worse. Got the baseball all-star break coming up. We have nothing to talk about. We got a ton to talk about. Man, oh, man. Where do you want to sink your teeth into?
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. Where do you want to go first?
Well, we're going to have JP Peterson on the show in our 8 o'clock hour, and he's closely associated with the Lightning, so we'll certainly touch upon their dynastic run here, but also wanted to talk to him about the Rays and not how they're doing in the standings. You know, they're scuffling a bit. They're still in the playoffs, the 4th place in the East, but this whole stadium thing. And not only that, Sternberg's getting sued for the 3rd time in 6 months by his minority partners. I mean, it is a
dysfunctional relationship between Sternberg, Tampa, his other owners. The whole thing is a convoluted mess, and yet the team wins at a rate that should make them beloved all over the place, but they play 30 minutes away from the city that they call home. It's hard to get to.
And so we're going to bring JP Peterson on the show to just talk about some of what you just detailed, which is they are the model organization in baseball. But the ownership stadium situation is muddied to say the least. And so we're gonna talk about that a little bit later on in the show, because there have been some meetings this week. The new mayor of St. Pete is involved, and he obviously wants to, make something happen. I mean, if you were mayor of St. Pete, you would too, and wants to try to keep the team. And there's a part of me that wonders if the Rays are not just trying to run out the clock. I mean, I think stalling is in Sternberg's best interest. I really do. The closer, is it 2026 or 2027, their last season?
Thought it was a 2026 season.
And so, you're looking at 4.5 years left in that stadium. Well, one of those, even in Florida, where you can do construction much more quickly than you can in most other parts of the country. I mean, that's going to take a little while. Never mind, financing and going through local governments, and never mind, right now the current governor and the Rays are not on speaking terms. So don't know if they'll get $5 coming out of Tallahassee right now. And considering that he's a heavy favorite to win re-election in the fall, not sure that they'll get $5 coming out of Tallahassee for the foreseeable future either. So, this is messy.
It's very messy.
And
there doesn't seem to be a lot of solutions and a lot of things being offered. The Ybor City thing seems to be dying. As you mentioned, the St. Pete mayor wants to bring them back.
We're done.
Well, I'm wondering if that's deep down how Sternberg and the Rays feel. He's obviously not going to say it. And I wonder if it's all just a game from Sternberg's point of view right now. I wonder if he's just playing the game. And he's leading everybody, and St. Pete's coming up with plan after plan, and it's no. And, right now, Tampa seems to be just sitting it out. We got other things we got to do, which they do. Don't blame them at all. But so we're going to talk JP Peterson about that. Where is it? Just how messy is it? Is it really a game? And like we said, the lease is anywhere from 4.5 or 5.5 seasons left. But if you're thinking 2 to 3 years to build a stadium, then really you got to get something done here in the next 2 years. I mean, you really do. You got to have it signed, sealed, delivered, okay, and breaking ground probably by the end of 2024, right?
At the very least, I would think that's pushing it.
So we'll talk to JP Peterson about that coming up later on in the show. This is our favorite NBA time of the year. It begins tonight, by the way. Remember when it used to, free agency, both NFL and other sports, they used to do 12:01 a.m.?
Right.
And it led to stories of people camped out on other people's doorsteps and all that. And then the famous story, Dana Stubblefield signed like this 5-year big money contract with the then Washington Redskins at like 12:18 a.m. We're like, wow.
Boy, they negotiated quickly in 17 minutes, didn't they?
I mean, the faxes and the signatures and everything. That's unbelievable.
How did they do that?
Who did they leave on the doorstep? Who was knocking on the door going, hey, let me in. Let me in. So now the NBA free agency begins tonight. I think it's like 6 o'clock. I mean, please, they've been tampering and talking for days. But officially, it's at like 6 p.m. tonight. So nobody's camping out on anybody's front yard or anything like that.
Already got some action, though, some trade action.
Absolutely. Huge trade went down late yesterday, actually. An all-star got traded from the Spurs to the Hawks. Hell of a deal.
Yeah. And that, I mean, nothing excites the sports fan like a Hawks Spurs trade.
But it is
in late June.
What do you know about DeJounte Murray, Mark?
Brings a lot to the table.
Yeah, DeJounte Murray for Danilo Gallinari and a couple first round.
3 first.
Well, that's massive. Let's break that down. In fact, let's spend the rest of the show analyzing that trade.
Like ESPN analyzes Lakers.
Right.
Well, that's at least something people care about.
So, but some guys turned down some contracts, and I know it's business. We've all had, business of some kind where you say no to something, and for a split second, somebody goes, "Did you just say no to that?" And you're like, "Yeah, well, we're going to negotiate something better." And somebody taps you on the shoulder and goes, "Are you sure?" I mean, those were, and then the answer is most likely yes. But, there were some contracts in which some guys said, "Nah, I'm not going to pick up my option." Now, in theory, there's more money waiting for them, more years and what have you. But on the surface, it looks funny.
It does.
So we'll talk a little NBA free agency, which begins tonight. A couple of significant deals have already gone down, and we got that going on.
Got some NBA history yesterday, too. Ish Smith played for the Pistons at one point. Became the player in NBA history to play for the most teams ever. He just got traded to his 13th team. He's in his 20s, I think. 13th team.
Footnote in history right there. Somebody had a nice moment on Twitter. They sent out pictures of him playing for all 12 teams that he's already played for. So that's this day in NBA history, brought to you by Felipe.
Journeyman.
But Deshaun Watson, day 3 today. I mean, at this point, is the NFL literally sitting with their feet up and their hands behind their head on the table?
In theory, they are. It's on the inside. On the inside, they're having a cigar and both feet are kicked up.
They're like They're like you later today with your buddy and your kids on the beach.
Yeah.
That's what the NFL's like.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're snooping a Corona ad, for crying out loud.
Passing notes back and forth to one another. Just is this thing over yet?
Where are we going to dinner?
When's this guy going to stop talking? All right. Don't they know the fix is in? Do you think it's possible? We got 30 seconds here before we break. Do you think it's possible that if the arbiter hands down a ruling of less than a year suspension, that to keep the peace and not get into a war with the NFLPA, that Goodell in the NFL accepts it?
No. Not even close. Judge, jury, executioner, Roger Goodell. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Ish Smith is not in his 20s. He's 33, but still. 13 teams.
If John had to stand still, he couldn't do it. Stand up. The head moves, the shoulders move. He switches hands with the mics.
Mark, there was like a second where he wasn't moving. Grabbed his coffee.
I'm sorry, what?
There was like a second where he wasn't moving. Grabbed his mug, started sipping, put it down.
All right, Adam. Did you like it? Yes or no? Or I'm sorry, Canada Relief.
My mom loved it for what it's worth.
Well,
She's an Elvis person.
Right.
But it is. She just said Tom Hanks was brilliant.
Okay.
Because it's more about the Colonel than it is about Elvis.
Because I've seen, mixed. I've seen some people who are like, and I've seen some people who really liked it.
Well, that Ropert guy, Roger Ropert's kid that was on Dan Patrick, whoever directed it is the same guy that did Moulin Rouge and a lot of these movies. So it's going to be Fosse, Martha Graham over the top from a theatrical standpoint.
Okay.
So, and that's would be why some people may not like it.
I have to admit, I was not a Moulin Rouge fan. Not a huge fan of her.
Mark, you know how in the basketball reference pages, like under the nicknames and all that, it shows the jerseys, like a little image of the jerseys that they wear. Look at Ish Smith's page. Straight rainbow. One of his best years was in Detroit.
Isn't Miles Bridges a free agent too?
Restricted. But in fact, the Hornets put some sort of tag or something on him like 6 to 8 hours before the story came out, keeping their rights to him. Timing. Mm-hmm. But they did that because apparently Memphis was going to go after him pretty hard. The good news for Charlotte, though, if they want to keep him, is I think, the whatever designation they did with him, they can match any offer. Don't be any offers.
They can be offered.
Get him on the cheap now if you still want him. LA Kings made a nice trade yesterday. Picked up a 30-goal scorer who the Wild couldn't afford anymore. Gave up a first-round pick, of which, they have so many young prospects. And they gave up a defenseman prospect who once played for the Gophers, I think. So.
All right, we're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Starting five coming up in about 15 minutes' time. This is more my thing than your thing. And I don't mean the starting five, but I'm into halls of fame. You're not. Whether it be sports, music, or otherwise. But the College Basketball Hall of Fame.
Wait a minute. There's a College Basketball Hall of Fame?
There you go. That in and of itself. Yeah. Oh, okay. So the College Basketball Hall of Fame yesterday announced their next group of Hall of Famers.
Is this the inaugural group?
No.
Is this a new Hall of Fame? Am I just learning about this because it's never existed before today?
No. No. Henry Iba, Adolph Rupp, they are not going in the Hall of Fame this year. No. It's been around for a little while.
Really?
Yeah. But here's my thing.
Okay.
Where are you on? Do you think somebody, while still active, can or should be inducted into a Hall of Fame? Or do you think you have to wait until they are done? Because obviously,
I don't think they need to wait till they're done, and particularly in the College Basketball Hall of Fame, which is going to be all about coaches. Some of these guys are going to coach up until the point that they croak. Well, and that way they don't even get the honor.
It's funny you mention that, because amongst those going into the College Basketball Hall of Fame, and I don't even know where it is. I mean,
shouldn't you? And by the way, that's what I was looking up right now. Shouldn't you, if you're going to do a segment on the College Basketball Hall of Fame, I was going to ask you, where is it? And I'm glad I didn't.
Well, I'm trying to make the point that me, who's into Halls of Fame, I mean, I will do two segments on when it's time for the NASCAR Hall of Fame. You know me.
That's in Charlotte.
Yes, that I'm aware of. I've been to it. All right. But I'm into Halls of Fame. And I still, since you did not tell me, I don't know where the College Basketball Hall of Fame is.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay. Good to know.
1401 Grand Boulevard.
No need to go any further. Email addresses, phone numbers, okay, zip codes. I do not.
Okay.
Oh, I'm curious. Are they open 7 days a week, or do they take
$17 to get in for an adult, 13 for a senior?
Hold on. What? $17? Please tell me there's a game associated with admission. $17.
It's all the fame, David.
Hey,
you brought it up. But they're just like my favorite little Greek restaurant, the Mediterranean Palace. They're closed Monday and Tuesday.
Thanks for letting me know. Oh, I know I'm headed to Kansas City in October. So, at least I know that maybe on a Sunday I can pop in. It'll be open.
I'll go to my joint and get €1. Why don't you go check out the Hall of Fame?
I'll call you from it and go, hey, I'm at Jim Calhoun's bust. And Jim Calhoun, one of the new Hall of Famers to be. And John Beilein. Lon Kruger, former Gators coach, took him to the Final Four. Roy Williams is just now going in to the College Basketball Hall of Fame. I mean, think about that. Jim Calhoun and Roy Williams are just now going into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. That seems a little absurd to me. Shouldn't this have happened a dozen years ago?
Easily.
And I think back to, I believe it was Skip Carey, who, when they were asking him about his dad and the Hall of Fame, and he said, well, you better put him in while he's alive, because otherwise it doesn't mean anything. And you waited till now, which I'm guessing is they wait until they're retired, because literally Calhoun retired from his Division III job that he had for 3-4 years in the last year. Roy Williams is a year retired. Lon Kruger just retired in the last year. Now, I don't know if John Beeline's retired, by the way. He's going into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. He's just right now, because wasn't he a finalist for a job a couple months ago? I don't know that he's retired, but because he's inactive, I guess they put him in. But also, Richard Hamilton is going in. I mean, Richard Hamilton led UConn to a national championship in the 90s. I mean, how long did you need to put Rip Hamilton in the Hall of Fame? It just seems...
This happens with the College Football Hall of Fame a lot as well.
Yes.
And the College Football Hall of Fame, and I didn't, it makes sense if there's a College Football Hall of Fame that there'd be a College Basketball Hall of Fame. But
I did bring it up because I figured between the two of us, neither one of us knew where it was.
And the College Football Hall of Fame, I think a lot of times put players in their Hall of Fame based on what they did in the NFL as opposed to what they did in college.
Well, I hate the whole they have a requirement for coaches in terms of winning percentage. You have to have a certain winning percentage in order to be eligible to be a Hall of Fame college football coach. So like R.C. Slocum is in the College Football Hall of Fame and Howard Schnellenberger's not. That's absurd. It just is. Nothing against R.C. Slocum, but come on. Seriously?
And then I know you have the point system of the LPGA.
Right, which is very stringent. Laura Davies is in the World Golf Hall of Fame and not in the LPGA Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Some Hall of Fames have standards, David.
Well, and theirs is the most strict. They give you like 2 points for winning a major. That's it. Not even worth a field goal. Oh, hey, you won a major. Congratulations. That's 2. How many do I need to get in? 27. What? Better go out and win a few Subaru Classics. That's all I know. But you know me with Halls of Fame.
I do.
It could be any.
And the fact that Roy Williams was not already in, that's really out of this whole thing. The fact that Roy Williams is just getting in bothered you.
Yeah, and Jim Calhoun also. And I understand Jim Calhoun's not nearly as likable as Roy Williams. But, I mean, come on. How many national titles? You won 3, right, at UConn? Because didn't Kevin Ollie win the last one?
Yes.
I mean, UConn didn't exist until Jim Calhoun. Right. I don't know. Seems ridiculous to me. So, like, to be honest, your guy. I mean, Tom Izzo's a Hall of Fame coach.
Absolutely.
I mean, shouldn't we, while he's in his 60s now, and have no idea how much longer he's going to do it, the whole deal. I mean,
but it would mean more to him, his family, his players, if they did it while he was still coaching.
Right. Leads me, I'm kind of curious to look up, is Krzyzewski in the College Basketball Hall of Fame?
He just retired. I don't know if you can put him in that quickly.
Do you have to wait a year? I mean, because no offense, $17, he better be on the wall somewhere.
I would ask for my money back if he wasn't in.
I'd be walking around going, can I get some help here? Where the hell is Krzyzewski? $17. Where's the Polish guy?
Where's Krzyzewski-ville, for that matter?
Right.
Is there a tent somewhere?
Come on now. I want to sound like Lombardi all of a sudden, but what in the world is going on over here? Just, I think it's a fair question.
Miller. Wow. Never be in a Hall of Fame, that I assure you. Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Damn, they hit the ball really hard.
Huh?
These guys hit the ball so hard.
So, what was the restaurant you mentioned yesterday with an L?
Liberty.
Did you see the spectacle of how Sandy Alcantara closed out last night's game?
I didn't see how he closed it out. I just read that apparently he and Mattingly had a nice embrace because Mattingly left them in to finish it.
It was awesome. So the Marlins hit a go-ahead home run.
2-run homer in the
2
top
outs.
of the ninth to take the lead.
Yeah. And then he gets jammed up. And he, like, the whole time with his glove over his mouth, is just like, no, like, this
Leave
is
me
what
in. Right.
no, this is what I work for. As soon as he finishes last out, he points right at Mattingly and then walks off the field. And that's a rare W by Mattingly because he's,
I think he's in trouble.
Yeah.
He's in the final year of a contract.
I hate Don Mattingly.
Why?
He sucks.
Okay.
I've seen him make a lot of stupid decisions. I mean, he's cool. Don't get me wrong.
I hate him.
I hate him. He sucks. He's stupid decisions. He's cool.
I mean, he's Don. He's Don Mattingly. Former Yankee.
They got rid of Jeter's right-hand guy yesterday. Marlins fired Gary Dembo, who was like in charge of scouting and all that.
One of my favorite Marlins managers of all time is Freddie G. Or when they brought in Redmond.
Which is funny because I thought Freddie G was a little overrated. He was I know he was under the Braves umbrella with Cox and highly recommended, but I don't know.
I liked Redmond, though.
I thought his team's underachieved. I like McKeon.
Well, yeah. He was the man.
Just liked his attitude.
Is he still with us?
Still alive.
Man, he's old.
Yeah, I think he's like 91 or something like that.
Yep, 91.
Yes, they are, Adam. The Jacksonville team used to be associated with them. I don't know if they still are or not. Are they the AAA for the Marlins?
What team?
Jacksonville. They used to be the Jacksonville Suns. Now they're got some fancy minor league name.
They're the Jumbo Shrimp.
That's right. They're the Jumbo Shrimp.
That makes sense.
Jacksonville.
Because we get shrimp
Right.
in these waters.
Right.
You know what we don't have in Southwest Florida?
Mussels.
Shrimp. Get some shrimp.
You know what we do have, though?
Grouper.
Grouper.
Grouper would have been great.
Would have been, and they did it for a day also before this ownership group.
Remember they did groupers, which was stupid.
And it's not this ownership group that actually made the change to Mighty Muscles. It was the one before it. But the people who owned the team before them did a one-day thing where they called the team the Fort Myers Grouper or Groupers.
It was groupers. I made fun of that too because
But
it's one grouper, 10 grouper.
But they had a hat, and it was great. It looked awesome. And we were like, this. And so when they announced they were going to change their name, we all thought, oh, well, this will be a cute little contest, but they're going to call them the Grouper.
And I get Mighty Muscles, but you could even say Mighty Groupers.
No.
Just Groupers.
Grouper, not groupers.
Yeah, you don't put an S.
You don't put an S.
Grouper.
Grouper.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Magic numbers, by the way. 58.
Ooh.
To the backyard brawl. No, excuse me, 58 till Nebraska Northwestern.
Right.
Week 0, if you're into that sort of thing.
Well, some people like Coke Zero. Why wouldn't they like Week 0?
It's a dadgum good point.
Thank you.
I think there's a little more to Coke Zero than Week 0, but I like it.
Interesting question right there in and of itself.
Which has more value to you? Week 0 of college football, Coke Zero, Pepsi Zero. Could be our poll question for all we know, coming up in about 20 minutes.
It would be neither of those for me, but when I go to one of the restaurants that's got the touch screen Coke distribution center and I can get me a mellow yellow zero.
Oh my gosh. I went to Five Guys yesterday. You see, if any restaurant has one of those things, it is immediately 10 times better. I was just talking about that.
First off, you could tell he's very excited.
Yes.
A, he got some sleep, and B, he's showered. I mean, he's neat. The hair is combed. It's close to the sides and everything. I mean, we're getting his egg. He's fired.
Well, and that mustache is like 4 or 5 weeks. That's looking almost like a mustache these days.
Almost.
That's as dark as that thing's ever looked.
You're
I actually recognize it as a mustache today, Felipe.
I'll tell you what, in a couple weeks, you could hit the ladies, with your porn stash. All right. You take it out on the road and see how well you do.
See, the early stages, that's when you have to go through the adversity. People telling you it looks terrible, but, we power through,
Right. That's true.
I like that he called it we.
We. Yeah.
Which is he and his mustache.
Correct.
All of a sudden, I thought he was part of a hockey team. Okay. Just everything's we, even when you're talking about yourself. It's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
By the way, 58 for week 0, 9 weeks today, backyard brawl, 10 weeks today, the NFL season kicks off. So 58, 63, and 70 are your magic numbers. NBA free agency begins 6 o'clock tonight, Mark, but yesterday was frenetic. San Antonio traded all-star guard DeJounte. Get that right, Felipe?
DeJounte Murray.
Well, I know the Murray part. I'm just saying.
DeJounte.
It's Jonte.
DeJounte.
DeJounte Murray to Atlanta for Danilo Gallinari, which is just eating up salary cap space, and 3 first-round picks. They outbid the T-Wolves and the Knicks for him. Knicks getting a lot of heat. They made, hey, we got 11 first-round picks over the next 7 years, and you don't use enough of them to get a 25-year-old all-star guard. Have you checked your roster lately? James Harden declined his option, his $47.3 million option.
Right.
It's strategic.
Oh, I know.
They're going to go one of two ways. First off, by doing it, he's now off the books. He can allow the Sixers a little more salary cap room now to fortify the roster. And then they can just tack him on the end and pay the tax and all that. But the other thing that he may do is he may take less in 2023. And then they'll, make it up to him a little something for the effort, sign him to a super max in 2024. So as opposed to Kyrie, what Harden did is considered team friendly. Bradley Beal, meanwhile, declined his $36.4 million option because the word is he's going to sign one of those super max deals. It's 5 years. Care to take a guess what Bradley Beal's, because everybody's supermax is different depending on all-star teams.
What did he turn down?
NBA. He turned down 36.4.
Well, the 5 years got to be in the 200 range.
Oh, well, it's definitely in the 200s.
Let's just go 232, just for fun numbers.
Higher. Yes, that's right. I said higher.
250?
Just lower. 248 is the supermax for Bradley Beal. 5 for 248. That's right. That's 49.6 a year for Bradley Beal. Hello. Jalen Brunson, by the way, I did this for you, Felipe, has said, I'm going to meet with 3 teams before I decide where I'm going to play. The Mavs, who he's played for the last few years, the Knicks, where he's rumored to be going, and the Miami Heat. Those are the 3 teams he's going to meet with. Bad timing for the Charlotte Hornets. They placed one of those tags on Miles Bridges at lunchtime yesterday. One of those, hey, we can match any offer type deal. He's a restricted free agent. We're not letting him leave. 8 hours later, Miles Bridges arrested for felony domestic violence. I don't think they're going to have to worry about matching any offers.
Nope.
NFL, day 3 of Deshaun Watson's hearing before an arbiter. NFL is insisting on at least a 1-year suspension. Precedent, and if this judge follows precedent, and most judges do, precedent will call for around a 6 to 10 game suspension. But of course, either side can appeal this arbiter's decision. And who hears the appeal?
That would be Roger Goodell.
The Players Association agreed to this twice. Unbelievable. DeMar Smith still has a job, right?
Yes, he does.
It's remarkable. Brewers beat the Rays again, 5-3. Randy Tellez with 2 homers for Milwaukee. They lead the Central by a 1.5 games. Rays are the 6th seed by a game over the Guardians if the playoffs started today. Marlins with a dramatic win in St. Louis to avoid the sweep. Garcia with the 2-run homer in the 9th to give them a 4-3 lead. And then their ace, Sandy Alcantara, on the mound, in trouble. He's thrown about 110 pitches. It's the 9th inning, 2 on, 1 out. Mattingly goes out, and Alcantara is like, leave me in, let me finish this. Remember, a couple of starts ago, he took him out with like 2 outs in the 8th and the whole deal.
They blew the game.
Right. So Mattingly said, all right, young man, it's yours. And he gets the job done. And as the final out is registered, he just points at Mattingly in the dugout like, yes, I told you. They had a nice embrace on the field. Big win for the Marlins, 4-3 over the Cardinals.
The Sandman.
I like it. Yankees 5-3 over the A's. Judge and Stanton both homered. That's 29 for Judge. They've played 76 games. Do the math. All right. He's on pace to right there with Maris's 61. If we're talking about guys who did it clean. There's no one who's hit more than 61 home runs that's not linked to steroids. So Yankees, by the way, are 36 games above 500. If they play 500 ball the rest of the year, Mark, they'll win 99.
And that's the division. I mean, you know, at one point when we did this and it was 93, 94.
Right.
Well, that might not get you the division.
Right.
They play 500 ball, they have won the division.
No doubt about it. There's no way Toronto or Boston.
Correct.
Is
Just
getting,
because they're playing in that division too.
Right.
That's the.
I mean, think about it. The Rays are like 15 behind the Yankees, and they're a playoff team if the playoffs started today.
Right.
They're 15 games back of the Yankees. We're a week away from the All-Star game. Red Sox, by the way, scored 3 in the 10th and then held on because their closer is sitting back in Boston because he didn't get the shot. 6-5 Red Sox over the Blue Jays in 10 to avoid the sweep. The Twins scored 3 in the 10th. The Guardians scored 4 in the bottom of the 10th. Josh Naylor, a 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 10th to win it for the Guardians 7-6. Twins lead reduced to 2. Atlanta 4-1 over the Phillies. Braves are 21-5 in June, and they're just 3 back now of the Mets, who lost 2-0 to Verlander, and the Astros. Jason Castro, who was hitting .095 on the season, hits a 2-out, 2-run homer in the top of the 9th to win it for Houston. Mets have lost 3 in a row for the first time this year. Justin Verlander's 10-3. That's Hall of Famer Justin Verlander.
Yes.
Dodgers double up Colorado 8-4. Their lead's a game and a half over San Diego, who shut out Arizona 4-0. Giants fall 6 back in the West with a 3-2 loss to the Tigers. Ohtani with 11 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings. Angels 4-1 over the White Sox. Ohtani's scoreless inning streak is 21 2/3 innings. Once again.
And he hits, too.
Once again. Okay. How much you paying him? Judge is a free agent this offseason, and Ohtani's a free agent next. All right, I'm very serious. Very quickly. If you're the Yankees and at the All-Star break, all right, and they go, we're not going to negotiate during the season. You go, okay, here's what I'm putting on the table. Because remember, they offered him 30.5 is what they offered him per year for 7 years. 35 times 7. That's 245. Here you go. 7 for 245. Yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm just saying, and make him say no, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I just for the number, I would put 7 for 250 because it's chump change at the end of the deal.
Yeah.
But I would want the number to look bigger on the Yankees and have them turn down $250 million.
There you go. Cubs 8-3 over the Reds. Kansas City 2-1 over Texas. Zach Greinke, the win in his 500th career start. Brian Reynolds had 3 homers for the Pirates in the 8-7 win over the Nats. Seattle beat Baltimore 9-3. Some upsets at Wimbledon yesterday. 3 top 10 players on the women's side. The number 2, 9, and 10 seeds were all ousted. Djokovic a winner. Isner ended Andy Murray's tournament in the second round in 4 sets. And the 3rd seed on the men's side, Ruud, he was upset. Americans who advanced on the women's side, Allison Risk and Jessica Pegula. On the men's side, Francis Tifo, Steve Johnson, Tommy Paul, all advanced. Golf, John Deere Classic, and the LIV Series both getting underway today. The John Deere Classic has 1 top 50 player in the field. The LIV Series has 8. And St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch reopening talks with the Rays. New proposed stadium and site. He's going to solicit plans for mid-August. Meanwhile, owner Stuart Sternberg sued for fraudulent transferred control of the team to an entity that he controls. The minority partners who own less than 10% of the team claim that he did that so he could hide the big payment that he got from Bally Sports. Apparently he got like $340 million. And they claim, well, he kind of put it in this little side shell company and kept it from us so we don't get any part of that. Rays, by the way, are the least valuable franchise according to Forbes magazine. What do you think the value is of the Rays? If they went on the market, according to Forbes, the asking price would be
1.6.
Yeah, I was thinking 1.6 billion.
Lower. Remember,
Oh.
Marlins went for 1.2. And Rays are considered lower value than what the Marlins
So a
sold
billion?
for. 1
Yeah.
1. Yeah,
One even.
for the Rays.
Wow.
But remember what he bought it for. Never mind what it'll be worth if they move. And as we mentioned a moment ago, college basketball, Hall of Fame, Roy Williams, Jim Calhoun, John Beilein, Lon Kruger amongst the coaches that are in. Richard Hamilton, North Carolina great Larry Miller, Providence great Jimmy Walker, also in the Hall of Fame. And that, gentleman, was...
That was the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So a lot going on there. A lot of meat on the bone. I didn't even mention a nice little trade in the NHL. I mean, it's involving two teams that we have 9 fans of that are listening to the show, the Wild and the Kings. But
We have more Wild fans than we do Hawks and Spurs fans combined.
okay. So in that case, the Wild, who are in a salary cap crunch, all right, traded away Kevin Fiala to the Kings for a first-round pick and a young right-handed defenseman.
That was a bonus starting five right there.
Hey, Fiala scored over 30 goals last year. Point-a-game guy. So there you go. That's what's going on in the sports world, so to speak. Miller and Moulton on this final day of June. Don't look at me like that. You know how fired up I get for NBA free agency.
I know you do. Are you more fired up for NBA free agency or the fact that you found out there's a college basketball Hall of Fame?
No, I'm totally bewildered by that. And I didn't know where it was. Why is it that Roy Williams is only getting in now? I'm hearing conflicting. So Coach K apparently was in 2006.
So was Calhoun, from what I'm reading.
Well,
That's why I don't get.
Yeah, I don't get it. So what, it was in 06 and now we're putting him in again now? What? Does he need a chicken dinner? I mean, you know, couldn't we take
Is
him
there
out?
another one that I don't know about?
I mean, for goodness sakes, he coached in the Big East. We could take him to New York for some good Italian or steaks. Doesn't have to fly to Kansas City for that, does he? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Keyword is had.
That's why I have it in capital letters.
Thank you.
Sure I spelled Wimbledon right. Wimbledon. Okay.
D-O-N.
Yeah. LIV Golf. I love it's my favorite question we've ever done. USFL Championship game is going to win.
Kadri's not 35, is he? He's a free agent, but he's not 35, is he?
Who?
No, we're talking about hockey in the Twitch chat room. So no need to get excited there.
I swear to you that D Wade could give you 10 minutes a game right now.
No, he couldn't.
Yes.
No, he couldn't.
He's a smarter player than.
Here's the problem. He's not a good three-point shooter, and that's what the whole damn league is for guys his
31.
size.
David.
Yeah.
So damn good. One of the best guards in the post of all time.
Yeah, I know. The problem is that doesn't exist anymore.
Who's he talking
so
about?
sad.
He's talking about D-Wade.
Dwayne Wade,
cares?
baby. What?
Who cares?
He just said something about he could play 10
Yeah, I
minutes
know.
right now. I know.
We got Kadri. We got a free agent talk, and since it's not about basketball.
He got when we talked Kadri, he thought he was like an NBA player from Europe that he hadn't heard about.
No, but also his son Zaire posted a video of him like working out yesterday.
Hey, no offense. Nobody you're bringing up shit nobody cares about.
I know.
Okay,
but he had a self alley.
But
this is where, as the producer of the show, your job is to help bring up subjects on the show that people want to talk about. That's actually the most important thing of your job. You've got to remember that.
Also, we're in the Twitch chat room. You're trying to talk about things that people are interested in.
I know.
You're
I
in
just
your
think
own,
out loud, you know.
You're in your own like imaginary world, which is what 8-year-olds do. Honestly, you're in the imaginary world. Go play with your imaginary friends type deal. And don't get me wrong. All right. When the Spurs and Hawks made that trade yesterday, I'm like, who I'd talked to about that? I talked to Felipe about this.
Coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final day of June. How about that? Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. This is usually the time of the show in which we have a poll question.
And we have one.
What do we have? What do you got?
It's very simple. There are some big sporting events going on this weekend in our country. We want to know what one you're going to watch. If you had to watch one sporting event this weekend, which would it be? Wimbledon, the USFL Championship game, or LIV golf?
Keyword had.
Had.
I'm
not forcing any of you to do this.
Kind of like, here's the deal. You can be released on parole, all right, if you commit to watching one sporting event this weekend.
I know for a fact I will not watch a second of the USFL Championship game.
Even though I'm pretty sure it's on network television Sunday. I don't know if it's
I'm pretty
Sunday
sure
night.
You could be right. I'm pretty sure that since I've not watched any so far, I think I can make the season.
Do you know who's playing in the championship?
The Philadelphia Stars. Do you know why? Because if it's a USFL Championship game, the Philadelphia Stars are playing it. They played in every single one that there has ever been, David.
That's outstanding, Mark. That is so true. The USFL was around for 3 years in its first round. I like you even more now that you threw that stat out there, because that's glorious. The Stars won the first USFL championship, right? And then lost it 2. And now here they are in USFL 2.0, and they are in the championship game against the Birmingham Stallions.
Well, with home field all season long. It's
except not in the playoffs. Had to play the semifinals at Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, and that's where the championship game is on Sunday.
But for Birmingham, Canton's like a second home.
At least Philly could bus there if they had to. I mean, I didn't say it was short, but you could bus from Philly to Canton.
That's true.
It'd be about 7-8 hours.
It's a long bus ride.
Right.
I've done a few of those.
Yes, you have. All those years you spent minor league
Wow.
hockey. Come on. That's not that bad considering some of the ones.
No, that would have been, for us, that would have been out of here at Southwest Florida. That would have been a midnight leave, get there at 8 in the morning.
I mean, that's just like going to Macon. Straight up the highway. That's probably what Philly to Canton is.
We figured out that was and I don't even want to say, because our ownership was not cheap, but They figured out that you rented the bus by the day, which meant midnight. So we left a lot of our trips. We're leaving at midnight from the arena and bus all night.
12:01 type deal, leave?
Pretty much.
Get somewhere, do the morning skate.
Exactly.
And then nap. I did the arena football team for a year. And so, Greensboro to Southwest Florida, Baton Rouge.
Yeah, Baton Rouge to Southwest Florida by bus is hell.
That's a good 12 and change. That was not. Greensboro was no
picnic either.
No, it wasn't. That was double digits in a bus.
There's no bus ride over 8 hours. It's fun.
Here's why maybe $10 minutes outside of Green Bay. Hello. And so how do you think we got there? That's right. We bust.
I'm surprised you bust. I'm not sure that wasn't like a 3-van trip at the division college level you were at.
So just, Scranton to De Pere. That's like 20 hours of driving in a bus.
And this, my guess was not the buses I took in hockey that had bunks. This was a bus with
no bunks, but it was March Trailways. All right, which was pretty big in the Northeast at the time, and especially in Northeastern PA. So yeah, it was a pretty decent bus, but still.
Yeah, but it's still 4 seats across.
Oh yeah.
No offense. I did my travel on buses with beds.
Yeah, no, I've never been on a bus with a bed, except, tour bus, so to
And I
speak.
mean, that's what, when I was
Right.
in minor league hockey, we took basically tour buses. So
Yeah.
to what you're talking about, I have no idea those long bus trips. That would be
I was like
no fun.
That's like 22 hours in a bus. And remember, you stop a couple times and this, that, and the other thing. So, that's getting on a bus one morning and showing up the next.
Whew.
Yeah.
So LIV Golf, USFL Championship game, Wimbledon. If you had to watch one this weekend, what would it be? I've been watching a lot of Wimbledon.
Well, you have a soft spot for Wimbledon. Tell me this, though. I mean, you and I follow sports. It's what we do. And we follow it more closely than most. We really do. I don't know half these players. We keep talking about the future of this sport when the big three, and let's face it, Federer hasn't played, but one match in a year. Serena's played one match in a year. Venus is essentially retired. And you've got Djokovic and Nadal. And let me tell you, this sport's got an identity crisis.
There's no doubt. I mean, I watched Serena in her first match and she lost. We were kind of building up the fact that if she could win a couple, she'd get a Coco Gauff in the fourth round.
Right.
And you're like, okay, that's a nice collision course. The greatest tennis player maybe ever, certainly the greatest female tennis player ever against a young American would be a nice, whether it's passing of the torch, whatever you want to look at it, old guard, new guard, meeting one another. Well, that's done.
Yeah. I mean, Coco Gauff's still around.
But she's not going to be playing Serena.
No, and maybe she'll be the one facing Swiatek, who's the number one player in the world, is the longest winning streak on tour in 25 years on the women's side. There aren't 17 people who know who she is.
But this weekend, how much will I watch? I don't know.
Also,
probably wait towards the end of next week when we start getting into semis and quarterfinal, semifinal matchups.
And it's funny because the Americans are doing pretty well. I mean, they had like a dozen advance on the men's side to the second round, which is the most in years. And you've got 3 or 4 women here who could seriously contend in a pretty wide open field. And I think most people don't know basically everybody who's playing outside of like 3 players.
That sounds about right.
Also, Wimbledon on Sunday. First time they've ever scheduled matches. They've played matches on Sunday because of rain in the past. They've had to make up matches. But this is the first time now where Sunday's not an off day.
In fact, when they would often play, when they would have to be forced to play on Sundays, it would turn into the best crowds Wimbledon would ever get because they would just go on sale to the general public, and it's not the normal patrons of Wimbledon. It was a soccer match. They were doing soccer cheers at some of these Sundays. Would turn into a pretty wild scene. We will not get that this week. You can vote on our poll question by going to FL Sports Network, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, all on Twitter, or floridasportsnetwork.com to cast your vote on today's poll question, which is, if you had to watch one sporting event this weekend, which would it be? Wimbledon, Live Golf Series, or the USFL Championship game?
And I mentioned the LIV Golf Series because they have 8 of the top 40 players in the world in their field. And the PGA Tour this week has 1 top 50 player, 1 at the John Deere Classic. 1. Now, next week's Scottish Open might as well be a major. I mean, they got 14 of the top 15 players in the world playing next week. Only Rory is not playing in the Scottish Open next week.
Which I'm stunned by.
I think just he's been playing a lot.
Yeah, I know.
And he basically said, I need a break. And I will say it's one of the few times in which he won't really be missed because, as I mentioned, 14 of the top 15 are playing. But Daniel Berger, 25th ranked player in the world, highest ranked guy in the John Deere Classic by far in the field this week.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Wimbledon and us not knowing who these players are. If you tune into the John Deere, there's a good chance you're not going to recognize names on the leaderboard.
So now I understand, we all know everything the LIV series is facing and all that. This is one of those times in which not being on American television and a chance to, kind of pound their chest a little bit and say, hey, come on now. We're catching a lot of grief, but if you're into golf this weekend, I mean, that tournament or what we're doing, and the better players are here, you could argue.
And that's, if they had a network, that's what they would try to be arguing. But
right. They'll be arguing it, but they'll be arguing it on YouTube and Facebook.
Correct.
At least in the States. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network on Twitter, and vote in our poll question. I know what I'm going to talk about next segment. So, but I may start it right now. So, I know I've brought this up before, but there are 6 playoff teams in each league in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
6. That's what they've gone to this year. So my idea in the past about having a split season didn't make sense in one way because you would have had to reconfigure the playoffs. Don't have to do that now. I mean, in theory, if you have a first half champion and a second half champion of your division, 3 divisions times 2, that's 6.
All right. Can I get to the first little problem I want you to solve before we start talking about who's in and how it would save baseball? And I do know your argument at this point. If the Yankees win the first half and the second half, who gets it? Who's the 6th team?
You do it one of 2 ways is what I would recommend. You either A, pick the team in that division who over the course of 162 games has the second best record. Or you could just pick B, the team in the American League over 162 games that had the best record who didn't make the playoffs. If by chance it's someone in one of the other 2 divisions.
I would opt for that because, hey, we've got Houston who's really good this year. We've got the Yankees who are really good this year. It's conceivable that if you ever go, if the world ever goes to David Moulton's Major League Baseball split season world, that at some point the same team will win the division, that we'll have 2 teams in the American League win both halves. Inevitably, it will happen at some point.
Right.
And I would love to see the race be among all of the other teams for those 2 playoff spots because it adds yet another way to keep more teams into the hunt for the whole season.
But if I threw that proposal out there, not even getting into specifics, in theory, does that look good? Would you accept it?
I'm getting closer. You've been wearing me out. Miller and Moulton. Well, more on this on the other side. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, they got to quit feeding that fucking cat.
Well, especially like, they're not here now for the rest of the week and the holiday weekend. And
Right.
What have you. Right. That cat's going to hang around for 6 days and goes, where's my food?
Now, I would think between, Driftwood Garden Center, that there's enough little rodents for this cat to keep itself busy.
Oh,
But when you start feeding it, why do I want to hunt?
right.
I walked outside to turn off the lights in my car, and it did the typical cat walk through the legs thing. That's a bad sign. That's when you know they love you.
Oof. Man, I wouldn't let that cat touch me.
Yeah, it touched me, and I was like, ugh.
I don't know what that cat has.
Yeah, that cat's got a few things.
I told my wife already I'm about to catch it and take it into her and have her fix it.
I should chop my leg off now. You know, I'm a dog guy. I like dogs more than cats, but cats are cool.
Cats are cool.
They're cool. They're just vicious predators. That's the thing.
My wife's cat, that was awful. I hated that cat. It bit me. My cats now are cool.
Your cats are cool. I remember the first time I went to your place, they were just chilling.
They're very cool.
What are their names?
Peaches and Sally.
That's right.
Not Peaches and Herb?
No. Not Peaches and Cream.
Mm-hmm. They are, unless they're out in the wild. And the Tigers offense, they are literally averaging exactly 3 runs a game. 3 runs a game, Mark.
What?
And it's unbelievable how bad they are.
What the hell? You did read this Nats Pirates 4th out thing?
No.
It was in the 5th inning. They doubled up a man, but the runner gets to score some of obscure.
Come back.
I got to read this.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Poll question at floridasportsnetwork.com. If you had to watch a sporting event this weekend, these are your 3 choices to pick from. Which would you watch? USFL title game. We could ask you a separate question. Who's playing in it? LIV golf. You do have 8 of the top 40 players in the world in the field. Or Wimbledon, in which outside of Djokovic and Nadal, you have no idea, maybe a Coco Golf, you have no idea who'll be playing this weekend. Those are your 3 choices. You have to watch a sporting event this weekend for us to allow you out of the house to continue to enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend. What would you watch?
It's between the golf and the tennis for me.
Wow. Really? It's interesting. I mean, let's face it. Most people, if football's one of the three choices.
It's not football. It's the USFL.
No, it really is football.
It's not even week 0.
It might not be Nebraska Northwestern, but it's better than all the other stuff offered on week 0.
Not to me.
Okay, really? All right, fair enough. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Vote accordingly. Here's another reason, very quickly, before we move on, because I know there's something you want to get to here. If baseball was, as I channel my Sinatra, doing it my way, the AL East
What is one season? What if we had two? Split them in half. Everybody rules. Sorry, I'm done.
Well, the AL East is over. I mean, the Yankees have won it. They're up by 13, for goodness sakes. As we mentioned, if they play 500 baseball the rest of the way, they'll win 99 games. Anybody think the Red Sox or the Blue Jays are going to get to 100? I mean, the Red Sox are 10 games over 500. We're at the midway point of the season. Do you know the type of baseball they'd have to play the rest of the way? Same with Toronto. Rays are 6 games over 500. I mean, they'd have to go like 60-25 the rest of the way to overtake the Yankees if they played 500 baseball. But if we had a split season, Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay, they've all had their issues. They can all regroup here after the All-Star break.
Well, and even think of a team like the Orioles who have found themselves and think they're an up-and-coming team. They've got a lot of young players. They think they're playing pretty good baseball right now after, it at least gives them a shot.
Yeah. Well, you start 0-0. That is the initiative as to why I've always been behind this. I was 15 years old. The Mets were bad. That was my team. And the 81 strike happened. And coming out of the 81 strike in the summer, they said, well, we're going to declare first half champions. We're going to play now the rest of the season, call it the second half. And the 2 winners in each division will meet. And at the time, you just had an East and a West. So it was simple. We'll add 1 extra round of the playoffs in all 4 divisions. And you had some great series in the AL East. The Brewers and Yankees went 5 in a best of 5. The famous 81 National League playoffs when Rick Monday of the Dodgers hit that 9th inning homer off Steve Rogers in the Expos. Well, both the Dodgers and Expos had to win game 5s in the first round over Philly and Houston just to get to that LCS. I mean, the playoffs were scintillating that year. And that 15 years old, I'm thinking, well, they're going to do this in the future. This was amazing. 3 of the 4 first-round series went 5, went the distance. Both LCSs were tremendous. I'm like, well, they're going to do this again, right? Obviously, they never have. But think about the Red Sox, the pressure on the Red Sox, Jays, and Rays. They're all playoff teams right now. They don't have to do anything drastic. There's no pressure. Yes, there's no second bite at the apple. I mean, they can't win the East, but they all know right now, we can pretty much keep doing what we're doing. And, 2 of those 3 are going to make the playoffs.
For sure.
They don't do anything. They just have to not fall off a cliff. Well, if we split the season in half, they got to play some ball in the second half. They got to try like hell to win it to get in, because otherwise they have a much better chance of being left out than they do now. How about the AL Central? How about that dramatic home run by the Guardians last night to cut their deficit?
Now they're playing this afternoon to get this to a game, and you're a week left in the first half with some serious consequences.
And yes, you would have to redo the schedules accordingly. And right now there's a big difference. The Twins have played 6 more games than the Guardians. Well, then you would have had to revamp the schedule where the Guardians would have had to make these games up in the first half. And you just go by winning percentage. All right, that's what you go by. Some teams get rainouts. It may help them, may hurt them. You just roll with it. Same in the AL West.
Look at the Texas Rangers right now, who got off to an atrocious start.
Yeah.
And have battled to get within a game of 500, but I thought they lost yesterday, so I think they're 2 below 500.
Exactly.
But still, here's a team that has no shot to catch Houston Astros, but they're playing the type of baseball that if the second half were starting, the Astros would be going.
The Texas Rangers in the last 2 months have played at a pace in which they would win 90 or so games. All right. But now they're below 500. They're 11 back of the Astros. The Astros play 500 baseball. If they just play 500 the rest of the way, the Astros are going to win 91, 92 games. But yeah, you'd have a race in the AL West in the second half. Also, the Angels and Mariners, who both have expectations, who both think they're pretty good, they get a new lease on life in a week and a half. Obviously, think about the drama we'd have right now in the NL East. The Mets, who had that 10-game lead a month ago. Braves have gone 21-5 since. They've cut the deficit to 3. Imagine if in the next 10 days the Mets and Braves had 2 series, because that's how you do the schedule. They'd all be playing division games right now. They wouldn't be Mets are playing the Texas Rangers this weekend. Okay? They wouldn't be playing the Texas Rangers. They'd be playing the Braves or the Phillies. And the NL East first half title, a playoff spot, would be up for grabs in the next 10 days. How about the Brewers and the Cardinals, separated by a game and a half?
And Dodgers and Padres are right at one another as well.
Game and a half. And then, okay, we do it all over again. We start from scratch.
No, David, I used to mock you when you did this. You've beat me down to where I don't think it'll ever happen. But I'd like to be in the room when you made the argument. I mean, I would love the owners, the GMs, to sit there and explain to you after how this doesn't benefit the entire sport.
Well, and also, let's face it, every sport nowadays is fighting for how much attention / money we can get and make while living with the 800-pound gorilla that's the National Football League. I mean, we've talked about it with the PGA Tour now. I mean, they just won't even play golf in September anymore. I mean, the series is done at the end of August. That's it. We're done. We're surrendering. And if you're baseball, this is the time. Basketball and hockey have stopped.
And this is a weird year that hockey lasted 2 weeks longer anyhow. They would have had basically from 2 weeks ago until the All-Star break, that would have been all theirs.
Yeah, normally both seasons are over by Father's Day. So, and think about it, if you're baseball, you would then have 3 weeks till your All-Star game, in which you would own the sports world. And you'd be playing high-stakes games, 6 playoff spots on the line.
And I'm guessing your thought is if two teams tie for division, it's a one-game playoff for the first half. Think about that the day before the All-Star game.
Right.
A one-game playoff, and someone's assured a playoff spot.
Right. And then you come out of the All-Star break, and you know what you do? Play a bunch of sexy interleague matchups. That's what you do the second half of July. You play a bunch of the, because you want to, in September, have a bunch of division games. You want to do it like the NFL. What does the NFL do the last 2 weeks of the year? Play nothing but division games. Now that baseball has altered their playoff structure so that 6 teams get in, this is more doable than it's ever been before.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right.
All right, I've got one non-sports story. It's not really a good, bad, and ugly story, but I just thought we could get a little. I don't know if how much time we get off it. Maybe the shorter segment. Do you see the story about the two women in Bangkok that had 109 live animals in their luggage?
In their luggage?
Correct.
Did you see the Pat Maroon photo of the
R. Kelly? Canada, what are you talking about?
Big Harris poll. Younger golf fans don't care at all about where the money's coming from, are more supportive of the Live Tour than older golf fans. But even older golf fans still say they're going to, like, 2-to-1 margin. Americans say that professional sports funders' identities have no bearing on whether or not they watch.
You know, Mark, the other day I was drinking a beer with a lot of head and got some in my mustache.
Because I have my thoughts on what they need to do.
With that mustache in the car you drive, won't be too long before you're giving it instead of getting it.
Oh!
Yo!
Uh-oh. Off the top rope.
Hey, what do you mean by that?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. JP Peterson will join us 1 hour from now. We'll talk a little Lightning. He's closely associated with them, but we'll also talk about the Rays and the ownership/stadium situation that's going on right now. Brett Siegel will join us top of the hour. We'll talk a little association. Free agency starts 6 o'clock tonight. A couple of trades made yesterday. Might be a more active trade week than free agency week. Talk to Brett Siegel about that in about 25 minutes.
Did you see Greg Norman's tweet last night?
No.
At the PGA Tour?
No.
So Sports Illustrated, SI.com, had an article about a Harris poll that shows basically the battleground of the Live Tour, and that younger golf fans are far more open to Live golf than older golf fans, that it's a generational battle, that the younger golf fan is much more about this series than the older golf fan.
Can I stop you there, though?
Yes.
Does golf have younger fans? And I'm not being a jerk when I ask that. There might be the oldest demographic in sports television viewership is golf. So
what do you mean by younger?
45 and younger.
Yeah. I mean, golf has the average age of the golf television viewer is in the early 60s.
I think that demographic, that younger demographic, is growing significantly.
Why?
Well, first off, we grew up with Tiger.
Well, but he's not playing now.
No, I know. But a lot of these young guys,
Appeal to you?
Your friends watching golf?
I watch golf.
So Tiger's not playing. So in other words, Tiger got you interested in golf. And now when you're interested in Rory and JT and Bryson, and so you're like, oh, okay, Tiger got me to the screen, but I kind of like these other guys too.
Yeah. This means nothing, but I have a whole friend group of 8 people that we all watch golf.
Well, no, and I mean,
hey,
no, means something, because I mean, you probably only have 10, 12 friends, so that means 3/4 of them are watching. But no, in all seriousness, my son, who I don't know how much golf he's watching, but he and his buddies are playing a lot of golf. They never played golf. Now it's a Saturday thing that 4 or 8 of them are going out and playing golf. That's a positive thing for the game of golf.
And another quick sidebar is one of the phenomenons that Tiger brought so many more people to the TV screen with golf, but he did not increase the rounds of golf that were being played in America. I mean, the first 15, 20 years of Tiger's career, rounds of golf played in America was flat. In the last few years, the pandemic helped.
And unbelievably.
Number of rounds of golf being played in the United States has gone up dramatically.
Yes.
And I think it's going to continue to go up with the young people.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, if you're in the golf business, that's gold.
But it just, according to this Harris poll, and again, You're right. 55 and older are more than likely going to be against it. 45 and younger, the majority of them are with it. And Norman just simply tweeted out the results of retweeted the article and put the period, so it wasn't at the PGA Tour, but so he could just tweet it out and said, at PGA Tour, you like apples. And then followed it up with the the same thing with from the movie Good Will Hunting there.
Right.
And put that post, replied to it with that so everybody got the proper context. But I found the poll in and of itself is interesting that young golf fans don't care. I'm with you. There's not a lot of them. But the Live Tour is not playing the short game here.
But are they playing the 20-year game? Like we did the poll question a couple of weeks ago. How long do you think this tour is going to last? Is it just going to be like a spring football league and last a year? Do you think it's going to last 2 to 3, or do you think it's actually going to go 4+ years? And most people were in the 2 to 3. They didn't even think it would make it to 4. You got to play the long game here. I mean, that's a generational. You put in 20 years to all of a sudden start winning, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Either that, or you bring so many golfers over in the next 5 years that you actually get the 55+ crowd to go, well, hell, I guess I have to watch this because that's where my favorite golfer just went.
It's the first time there's been a poll that I have no part of. It's 45 and younger and 55 and older. I'm not even a part of this poll.
No.
But I was closest to answering our poll question that I'm going to watch Live Golf this weekend. Because I do have a slight fascination, the fact that it's in Portland, which protests everything. How much of that, the Live Golf's not going to show any, but I want to pay a little attention to what goes on in and around the courts this week.
Well, the other thing, I'm interested if anyone's going to show up, because that is a part of the country that does not get major golf. I mean, they had a U.S. Amateur out there a couple of years ago, but they had the PGA out there at Sahali in like 98. I mean, there's not a regular tour event that's in the Pacific Northwest.
No.
And you got 8 of the top 40 players in the world here. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're a golf fan within a couple of hours of this tournament, when's the time you saw Phil Mickelson play a round of golf? I mean, probably never. And he's been doing this 30 years professionally.
And you got DJ, and you got Koepka, and you got Reed, and you got DeChambeau.
Right.
I mean, these are names.
Right. And I'm just curious whether or not anyone's going to show up for this. It's the same thing in a month. They go to the New York metropolitan area. They're going to Trump Bedminster. Well, that's a great golf area. I mean, it's not Florida, but it's a great golf area. Central Jersey. I mean, phenomenal courses, a lot of people. I mean, you got 25 million people within a 90-minute drive of that course. All right. And Phil is the most popular golfer of the 25 million, and he's going to be there. Well, is anybody going to show up for this thing?
Because what I was getting out of Portland, and it's a small audience, but I have friends that live in the city and have for 30 years, that there was zero buzz. That was last week.
Right. So, okay, we'll see.
So that's the other reason I'll probably tune in to see if there's anybody there. Because now, not just and this is Portland, people that are the members are getting ridiculed for even hosting this tournament there.
Right.
There's a lot of controversy around this because, as David pointed out earlier in the week, there was a drunk driving accident a few years back.
I think it's 2015 or 16.
In which someone was killed. The driver was a Saudi student. And by all accounts, the Saudi government paid to get him back home. And he never served any time and never was held accountable for killing someone as a drunk driver.
Right. He killed a University of Oregon student and who's from that area. And they took his passport away and they put an ankle bracelet on him so they could monitor him at all times. And all of a sudden the ankle bracelet got cut off. And somehow, some way, even though he didn't have a passport, he got out of the country. And 60 Minutes even did a story on it 5 years ago about the Saudis, they think kidnapping the kid and bringing him home, if you will. So, yes, there's a local reason to protest besides if you want to protest the whole thing in theory.
So that has me even more interested. Because if you just show up to go to this tournament, you're going to have to walk through picketers and probably get yelled at by people.
Now, and even though we included it in the poll question, and you can watch it, and people are watching more and more things via streaming, but this is not on a television channel, unless you count YouTube TV as a television channel, because the LIV series is not on a cable channel. It's not on an American television network. In this country right now, you can only get it via YouTube, Facebook, and I believe livegolf.com. So, and last week, I think, viewership was averaged around 150,000.
By the way, really quickly, Felipe, YouTube, watching something on YouTube, does that even faze you? Does that, like, when we talk about that as a problem for you, is that like, whatever, I just go to YouTube and watch it?
Yeah, not really. It's not really a problem, but I see how getting a TV deal would make things better.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm
Absolutely.
just generationally, we don't, for us to think YouTube TV, are you kidding me?
Well, no, not YouTube TV and YouTube are two different.
Yeah, sorry, it's just YouTube, right? And I don't know if YouTube television actually adds any YouTube channels onto their list because I don't have it. From what I understand, it's just basically like a cable service.
It's really good. Not to sponsor them or anything.
Hey, trust me, the moment DirecTV doesn't have Sunday Ticket anymore, I'm done.
You know that you can just add your Sunday Ticket subscription to your YouTube TV. I'm telling you, man. The NBA Finals got YouTube TV.
In fact, it was sponsored by it a few years ago. I think in back-to-back years. And they sponsored the All-Star game, Major League Baseball All-Star game. YouTube TV has the last couple years. A couple of quick things about this series, because to me, they can sign as many top players as they want. Right now, the biggest thing I believe working against them, even more so than where the money is coming from. And I could be wrong. That could be just the number one obstacle. But to me, the number one obstacle is if you're a golf fan, you're like, well, what the hell are they playing for? There's no real meaning here. I mean, yeah, I guess they're playing for money, but I'm like, these guys have all made so much money and they're given so much money to go on the damn tour. I don't really care. It's not like when you watch the John Deere Classic and somebody could win something and you feel as if they're playing for something that could change their life more than those on the LIV series.
100%.
I think they need to do something that right now they don't have. I think they need to have a cut. But I think it needs to be an individual cut. It needs to be like Pebble Beach, because they're also doing the whole team thing. And you know how it is with the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Okay, you can miss the cut, but your team can actually be in contention. And so you can keep playing. And that's what I would do. They have 4 guys on every team. They count top 2 scores first round, top 2 scores second round, 3 of the 4 scores third round. I would change that. I would go 2 scores, 3 scores, all 4 scores. And so that after 36 holes, I would cut 48 down to, I don't know, top 24 and ties. So half the field's been eliminated from winning it. But however, you got to keep playing because you're in the team competition.
Yeah, I don't know what you do to create the competition like you're talking about. Part of me, with what just happened to PGA Tour, smartly convinced the DP World Tour that they were their buddies again. If I would have been the Live Tour, I'd have been going to the DP World Tour beforehand. I would have tried to relegate players to that tour. I don't care if there's no cut, but the money train ends if you're not good enough. You're on a 1-year deal with my tour.
I think most of the deals are 2 years. The introductory deals are 2.
I got you.
Right.
But to create something.
Right.
Since it's already a free paycheck. You and I talk about relegation all the time and how the American sports fan we think would love it. Here's an opportunity to do something that's right out of European soccer.
Yes. I'm totally.
If you're the top, and hey, maybe it's just like the hockey playoffs. Damn near everybody makes it. But if you're in the bottom 8, you're on the Asian tour next year, and we're going to promote 8 guys who get the gravy train. There's got to be some consequence if you don't play well.
I'll probably watch Wimbledon this weekend, but I might catch myself watching LIV just to see what golf looks like in Portland.
I know I'll tune in for a little bit because I want to see how this tour goes. This tour has me very curious, to say the very least.
The other thing that I believe they have to do is that, let's face it, you've got Koepka and Bryson in the same tour. Come on. Don't you have to figure out a way to pit them against one another? Also embrace the gambling aspect where they're showing far more live golf than the normal American network. So you can't bet per shot, I don't believe, on the LIV series because they show too much golf and it's all live. So I don't know if you can do the shot by shot betting. But to me, that they're, for whatever reason, they're big on this team concept. Well, then to me, you need to work the gambling aspect on it. Don't you have to be able to bet Team Koepka against Team Bryson?
100%.
And then the individual bet of who do you like today, Brooks versus Bryson? I mean,
you need to be miking the players up. Since this is an exhibition,
all of them.
Since it's a glorified exhibition, I need guys mic'd up. And if I'm Norman, I'm sitting down with I'm in a room, and I might even televise it and say, guys, feel free to talk.
Well,
we need to hear your expressions.
How about, do you mic up all 48 players or do you mic up all 48 caddies? Because some of the golfers may not like,
tough. I paid you enough money.
Well, I get that.
I mean,
okay. And that's
the microphone on and shut up. Okay.
Text from my friend. He's listening to the show right now. He goes, "Hey, we watch golf. Like our friend group, we all watch golf."
And thank you for that.
If you could believe that, I'm just saying.
I love the 21 and 22-year-olds going, hey, don't diss us. We watch the old man sport, okay?
We'll be there one day.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, does one of your bad or uglies involve a bear?
Sorry, what?
Does one of your bads or uglies involve a grizzly bear?
No.
Dude in Wyoming was mauled by one in a surprise attack.
It's not good. That'll leave a mark.
In the infamous debate of silverback gorilla versus grizzly bear, who are you taking?
Taking the gorilla.
What? I'm taking the bear. Come on now. It's got weapons on its hands.
What do you think the gorilla has?
Strength and thumbs. That's it.
They have claws too. They got nails. Not as long as a bear.
What bear has razor sharp knives?
Taking the gorilla.
You're crazy. Bear's faster, bigger, stronger.
I don't know if it's stronger.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, then why did you ask me to ask me my opinion if all you're going to tell me is wrong?
This is one of the oldest debates.
It's one of the oldest debates, huh? It's the first time I've ever heard of it.
No, come on. Really?
Jesus Christ, help me. Can we talk about sports? Can we talk about the NBA?
Sorry, let's go. Yeah. Free agency today. Got some moves coming. Not exciting ones, but some. Tyler Hero's going to be out of packing up, leaving Miami today.
No way.
You think the Heat give him $100 million?
Yeah. And I think they unload a couple guys.
It's a great question, Debbie. Did you meet a girl yesterday?
Yesterday?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
but the other day I did.
So did she call you back yesterday?
No.
Or text you back? You're giggling over there and your cheeks just turned pink. You literally blushed.
No, I did not meet a girl yesterday.
But you did 2 days ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't really meet. She knocked on my door and asked if I could remove a frog on her front door.
You talked to her since?
No. And she's my upstairs neighbor.
You have no game. You have no game, do you?
Who do I knock?
She
What?
She knocked on your door.
Knock on her door and ask her for what?
I got a frog in my pants. Could you help me get it out?
Yo. Straight up. You'd slam that door in my face.
Let's go to Tacos and Tequila and get a drink. You busy?
Who said that? Oh. You're saying I should say that.
Or mellow mushrooms. So let's go have a pizza together. You got 4 places.
Oh, listen. I'm all about straight on, head on. Like, hey, let's do this.
You knocked on my door to do the frog. You want to go get a drink? Want to get some chips and
100% of the
salsa?
shots you don't take. I hear you.
What's the matter with you? Exactly. No,
That I'm
no,
all
you
for that
have no
too.
game.
No, relax. I just strike out a lot because I'm not handsome. And I have this thing on my face. Girls are materialistic nowadays. I have a dad bod, okay?
Brand new car and a job. If they're materialistic, you should be doing well.
Gotta flex the radio job.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third hour of Miller and Moulton on this final day of June. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. JP Peterson, host of the JP Peterson Show, will join us in a little more than 35 minutes. Talk a little Rays and a little Lightning. Brett Siegel's kind enough to join us now. He's an NBA insider and reporter for Sports Illustrated's Fast Break on Fan Nation. You can follow Brett on Twitter at Brett Siegel NBA, Brett Siegel NBA. Brett, it's David and Mark. We appreciate your time on what will be a very busy day and night for you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing this morning?
Well, we are fine. First off, your thoughts on the big trade yesterday. Did San Antonio get enough for a 25-year-old all-star guard? 3 first-round picks, none of them expected to be a lottery. Gallinari for salary and a pick swap. Is that enough?
Well, I think the biggest thing that stands out about this trade is that two of the future picks that they got are unprotected. And this far out, those are valuable picks because you don't really know how the Atlanta Hawks are going to be in 2025 and 2027 when you have these unprotected first-round picks. So to immediately add future value like that and not have any protections there, I think that is good value. Now, if you're San Antonio, though, and you're a fan of San Antonio, you're not going to be too happy to see that these picks are as far as they are because, I mean, we're talking 5, 6, 7 years from now. So that some of these picks will actually turn into meaningful players for them. But at the end of the day, when you look at where the Spurs are as a franchise, they were nothing more than a play-in team, even with DeJounte Murray. You weren't going to be adding any high-level all-star talents in free agency, and you still have 3 to 4 years until their youthful core really turns into something special. And they're high on a lot of the guys that they recently drafted and some of the guys that they drafted this year. So I do think that it was a move that the writing was on the wall for quite some time that they were going to wind up moving DeJounte Murray. And they did get a good haul for him. They get a Charlotte Hornets first-round pick that's top 16 protected next year. Hornets potentially projected to make the postseason. So that pick could convert. Right now it's 50-50. The Hornets are on the fence on whether or not they'll be a playoff team next year. And then obviously you have the picks in 2025, 2027. You have Gallinari's salary that you could wind up flipping, but it seems like that they could potentially reach a buyout there and he could become a free agent at some point. So it's not a terrible trade for San Antonio, like I mentioned, with the unprotected picks. But at the same time, maybe you could have gotten a little bit more for DeJounte Murray in terms of competing right now.
Philly gets some flexibility with Harden making his move yesterday. If you're Philly, I know Tucker's been rumored to them. What do you do if you're Philadelphia right now? How would you play out this free agency?
It seems like that James Harden is going to be very flexible with his contract, and I've heard as low as a 3-year, $30 million deal for him. So it seems like he's willing to take a major pay cut to make the Philadelphia 76ers championship contender. PJ Tucker does want to be in Philadelphia. As of right now, I'd be shocked if he does not go to the Philadelphia 76ers, given the mutual interest between the two. And who knows, maybe they're going to land another surprising name, and maybe they'll spend their full mid-level exception to make this whole thing possible. But it does seem like that Joel Embiid and James Harden are going to be getting the help that they need in free agency this year.
Brett, listen, we all know there's tampering that goes on in the NBA. But, I mean, this PJ Tucker to the Sixers deal with terms was being widely reported Monday. I mean, if you're Adam Silver, don't you have to step in here and go, listen, I mean, it's kind of like in hockey, too many men on the ice, you know, they kind of let you get it with 5, 8 feet from the bench. But if you're 30 feet from the bench, they got to call the penalty. I mean, if you're Adam Silver here and PJ Tucker, on Monday, it's out there, he's going to the Sixers for 3 years, $30 million. And then it happens. Don't you have to step in here and go, listen, come on, this is outrageous. I can't allow this.
Yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, the NBA is a business, and all the players talk, and they work out together all the time in the offseason. I mean, there was just a video that surfaced the other day of, I think it was LeBron James and Donovan Mitchell and some others working out in New York together. So to say that there's no tampering going on is just not true. There's little ways that you can do to prevent it because, like I said, players talk, and I'm sure that James Harden has talked with PJ Tucker at some point. I'm sure that Joel Embiid has talked with PJ Tucker at some point. I'm sure that Tucker has reached out to them. The only thing that really matters is the organization having real contact with them. So if it comes out that Daryl Morey and the 76ers front office has been talking to PJ Tucker, negotiating before the negotiation period opened, then yes, that'd be a problem that the league would address. But I mean, the little talk that these players have every offseason, there's just no way to prevent it.
He's Brett Siegel. He's an NBA insider and reporter for Fast Break on Fan Nation, which is under the Sports Illustrated umbrella. You can follow Brett on Twitter, Brett Siegel NBA, Brett with 2 T's, Siegel NBA.
Hey, I get why Bradley Beal is going to take the max contract. I mean, it's $250 million. I totally understand it. But is he going to play his entire career in Washington and basically never play in a meaningful basketball game?
Well, it seems like right now that he wants to be a part of the Washington Wizards organization. It seems like something that Bradley Beal has been wanting to do for a while, and that's something that he's going to be signing on to do, the 5-year, roughly $250 million deal, supermax contract extension with the Wizards. And they've proven to him that they're going to be doing everything they can to get out of this, in quotes, rebuild right now and make it more of a retool. And they made a trade yesterday to kind of prove that. They went out and flipped KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, and Ish Smith for two very solid role players, two solid secondary players, and Monte Morris and Will Barton from the Denver Nuggets. I really like this deal. It's costing them a little bit more money, but hey, that's what it's going to take to win. And they're still in on Indiana's Malcolm Brogdon as well in trade chatter. So they may not be done this offseason in terms of making moves and getting Bradley Beal help. In the draft, they got Johnny Davis, who's a young guard that should be able to supply them with some shooting guard help right away. They're hoping that Kristaps Porzingis will be healthy to go for the full season. And you still got a couple young guys that you can move around and play with, in Corey Kispert, Denny Avdia, and Kyle Kuzma, Rui Hachimura as well. So I do like the direction that the Washington Wizards are going. And Tommy Shepard has made it very clear that they're going to try to do everything they can to win right now and capitalize on Bradley Beal's prime.
Whether it's the Knicks, the Heat, somehow staying in Dallas, if Jalen Brunson, 4 years, 100 to 110 million, is this outrageous, or is this just the cost of business? Because that would only make him like middle of the pack for starting point guards in terms of getting paid.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson's situation is interesting. It's the Knicks, the Miami Heat, and the Dallas Mavericks that are all in on him. They all have scheduled meetings with him when free agency begins. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because we just saw the New York Knicks open up a ton of cap space. They were in on trade talks for DeJounte Murray. Ultimately, they did not land him. So now all their attention is going to turn to Jalen Brunson. And it seems like that is the most plausible destination for him. They opened up all that cap space with the trade with the Pistons, sending Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks there as cap relief. They unloaded Kemba Walker's contract earlier in the offseason. And now he recently hired his dad to be an assistant coach, Rick Brunson. He's now going to be an assistant coach on the New York Knicks coaching staff. So it seems like all indications are that Brunson is going to sign with the New York Knicks, and they could very well offer him the max deal, upwards of $30 million. They opened up that much cap space. They have the ability to sign him at that price outright. And the Miami Heat, they don't have the ability to sign Brunson unless it's a sign-and trade deal. So to me, I think that it would be a long shot for the Miami Heat to sign him, but you can never really count Pat Riley and the Heat out, especially when he lays all those championship rings out on the table. And that would be something that Jalen Brunson really resonates with and wants to be a part of. So, but we'll see what happens. But I would anticipate the New York Knicks having the front line on this unless they majorly screw it up.
And I think we all believe that. So what do the Heat do then this offseason? If obviously if Brunson goes with the Knicks, what moves would you make for the Miami Heat?
I believe they have to turn their attention to figuring out things at the forward positions. You just have to add depth to this team, and particularly scoring depth behind Jimmy Butler. And with PJ Tucker presumably gone, you now have a major hole to fill at the power forward position. And maybe you'll move Jimmy Butler over to the power forward position. You still have Duncan Robinson and now rookie Nikola Jovic out on the wing. But you still need to add some depth, in whether that's a Danilo Gallinari that gets bought out, or maybe a guy like T.J. Warren, who hasn't played since the NBA bubble, really. And he played 4 games the following year, got hurt, had foot surgery, and he hasn't played since. He's had it all this past year. But they recently signed Victor Oladipo coming off a big injury. Maybe we'll do the same with T.J. Warren and take a chance there on a guy that was having all-star potential before his injury. So there's options out there, and I'm sure that they're going to use their full non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which is around $10 million this year. And there's plenty of veterans that they could take a long look at minimum veteran contracts. A guy like Jeremy Lamb, maybe Joe Ingles coming off injury, Thaddeus Young. So there's definitely guys out there that could fill some holes for them, that's for sure.
Brett, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it. Best of luck over the next couple of days. We know how busy it's going to be for you.
Absolutely. You guys take it easy.
Brett Siegel, part of Fast Break on Fan Nation, which is under the Sports Illustrated umbrella. Follow Brett on Twitter, Brett Siegel NBA, Brett Siegel NBA.
You know, one guy that I think Brett forgot to mention was Jay Crowder. I think the Heat are interested and definitely could bring him back.
I'll be curious if Miami just makes moves around the edges or if Miami actually tries to do something big. You know, there's always a fallout now, Mark, in the NBA. You know, Atlanta made the big deal. They got DeJounte Murray here. They're going to have to sign him to a huge extension. And now, they've got a really good young Kevin Huerter who's got 3 years left on a contract at about 14, 15 million per. They don't need him now. Also, they signed John Collins to this 5-year, $100 million deal last year. Well, they're already shopping him. That's a good young power forward at 20 million per, which sounds like a lot of money. And it was a year ago. It's not now. And I'm wondering if somebody, could be Miami, but somebody takes a look at Atlanta and says, hey, we'll take that money and that player off your hands, because Atlanta's now up against it cap-wise. They got to unload somebody. And so who's going to take advantage of Atlanta because of the terrific deal they just made? But now they got to, you and I are hockey fans. The Minnesota Wild up against it cap-wise, they had to trade away a 35-goal scorer yesterday because they just couldn't afford to keep him. It's a hard cap. And I think Atlanta is going to be in that situation too, where they're going to be giving up at least one really good player here. I'm looking for deals more so than free agency. I think we're going to have a lot of trades in the next 10 days.
General Manager Moulton, there was a gleam there, folks. There was a gleam from one David Moulton talking about trades and free agency all at the same time. Who needs football when you have NBA free agency?
At least between now and the baseball all-star break. Then training camps open a week later.
Then a baseball trade deadline? Oh, my goodness, Miller and Moulton.
Hey, golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What a great point. short segment before JP.
Live animals in the luggage.
I like it. Good place to start. I think I've been to Lake of the Woods. Mark's got the video. I don't know. Is it out there? Me eating the hot dogs? No,
Yes. It's not, if it's out there, I don't know. It's on my phone. I don't know if I've ever put it out there.
Yeah.
That's just too much gold to be just thrown out. Dun, 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 dun. In 1984, there were only 5 albums.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
.21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Poll question at floridasportsnetwork.com. And we know there are other things on television this weekend. But there's a reason why we worded the question and gave you the choices that we did. These are 3 not very popular television entities. And so we said, if you had to watch one, to get out of the house, to, get out of prison, whatever the case may be, you had to watch one of these 3 television events to make someone happy, which of the 3 would you pick? LIV Golf this weekend in Portland, although actually it starts today. It ends Saturday, I believe. The USFL Championship game, which is Sunday night on Fox at 7:30, oh, by the way.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Well, it's a holiday
Desperate
weekend.
times call for desperate measures.
Be curious to see if anybody watches.
Thank goodness I'm picking up my kid at the airport Sunday night.
It takes 3.5 hours. That's how
It's
long.
going to.
And then Wimbledon, of which there are matches scheduled on Sunday. So it's more than just a Saturday affair.
And right now, more than half of you are voting for the USFL Championship game, which I told David when we did this poll will win going away.
Now,
USFL TV numbers were not half bad.
They are not good in June. Their April, May numbers were actually fine. They were averaging over 1 million, which they were happy with, because also usually one of the 4 games was on a network. The other 3 were on cable. And so they were, as they pointed out, hey, listen, we're basically drawing Sunday Night Baseball numbers. And we're out drawing MLS and Premier League and a few other things. So
for football with guys you've never heard of.
Right. In a first-year league. So we're coming back for year 2. Now, I think that the June fall off has shown that I think they need to move the schedule up. And I know they didn't want to compete with March Madness in any way. And they wanted to end 4th of July weekend.
And they're keeping the same schedule. They have
year.
announced it for next year, that they're starting after the Masters and ending 4th of July weekend.
I think the XFL plans on starting right after the NFL season. I think the XFL plans to get like half their season in before the USFL even starts. So maybe that'll be their advantage next year. We'll see.
They're going to get hyped a lot more.
Well, by 2 different networks. Fox and NBC hyped up the USFL. They're going to get hyped up by ESPN.
But they also have a much closer relationship with the NFL.
But I don't think the NFL is going to be paying money to advertise the XFL.
No, I just think they'll have a bigger advertising budget because of their partnership with the NFL. I think their pockets are going to be, well, I don't know about deeper because Fox is behind the USFL, but I don't think they're going to be short for money.
Fox is apparently looking for somebody to also get in with them and become a business partner on the USFL because they're thinking longer term. They're thinking about expansion. By year 3, everybody's going to have to host their own games and more costs and all that. The word was Fox had put $150 million aside for the first 3 years of the USFL. Have no idea what they spend here in year 1. But that's our poll question. FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
So as I was searching for stories for the good, bad, and ugly, I saw this yesterday. I don't really think it fits into that category, but it does fit into what in the hell were these people thinking? I don't know if you caught this. 2 women were arrested in Bangkok, and they were accused of smuggling 109 live animals in their luggage.
Excuse me?
They were accused of smuggling 109 live animals in their luggage. When the luggage went through x-ray, they came from India to Thailand. When the luggage was x-rays, it discovered 2 white porcupines, 2 armadillos, 35 turtles, 50 lizards, 20 snakes in the 2 pieces of luggage.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Now, I don't know if the armadillos were there to be eaten by the snakes. I'm not sure. The porcupines, I think, could handle themselves. If this was Mike Leach breaking these animals down, I'd love to hear his interpretation of who was going to win. But how do you even get 109 live animals in a suitcase and zip it?
Right. I mean,
especially when there's 2 porcupines.
I mean, this is the beginning of recreating Noah's Ark here. I mean, only they're going a little overboard. Hey, we just asked for 2 of everything. What is 109? What?
Yeah, how do you get enough here?
Right. Man, that's crazy.
That's just disturbing to me.
Well, yeah. Also, I don't like the fact that they're, in their luggage?
Right.
I mean,
That snake's on a plane, man.
Oh, don't go there. You know how I am with snakes.
What's the most pet-friendly animal and the least pet-friendly animal out of all those animals?
What do we got again? Quickly.
2 white porcupines, 2 armadillos, 35 turtles, 50 lizards, 20 snakes. Most pet-friendly, turtles.
For sure.
Oh. Yep.
And many of you would think the snake is the most unfriendly. I've got to believe the 2 white porcupines are the most unfriendly.
Yeah. Come on, a porcupine?
First off, how do you get it in your luggage?
How do you get it not to break your luggage?
Right,
Wear some gloves.
That's crazy. How many snakes again?
20.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Yeah.
I'm like Indiana Jones.
If you walked through, like, I was at Disney recently, and we went to the Animal Kingdom place, and there's one part of it where you walk through, you're in a room where there's just a lot of snakes inside of glass. Like, there's no way.
I'm fine with that.
You're fine with that.
Fine with that.
But the moment someone were to take a snake out and, walk the room with it around their shoulders, you'd be gone.
Going for a walk. Yep. Like the guys that are walking around with the pythons and what have you around their neck and their shoulders and what have you. I'm like, that's cute.
So my roommate in college, second year at Michigan State, rented a house with a group of guys, and one of them had a small python. Whatever. It was cool to watch eat a mouse.
What's a small python?
2.5 foot, 3 foot. It was small.
But I don't know if for you small is 5, 6
No,
feet.
it was small.
Okay.
And I didn't like having it in the house.
Right.
But I was pretty sure, based on the fact that I knew these guys pretty well, the snake wasn't. Everybody's like, snake doesn't get out. No one else was fearful of snakes, so whatever. David had the room and had a snake in his room, and we'd watch it eat a mouse.
Did he where did he put the snake?
It was in a fish tank, basically.
Okay.
But what we had a lot of parties. It was, college.
Right.
So Dave would walk downstairs with the snake and walk around the room, let people pet the snake and all that kind of stuff. And there was one of you.
Right.
One who was definitely afraid of the snake.
Well, I wouldn't be like that. I would be, because it's on him. Plus, also, it's a python. It's not like those things move fast.
Right. But
Okay.
there was always someone who didn't like the idea of the snake being even downstairs.
Right.
And eventually, he would succumb and take the snake back upstairs. That's when he would play the trick on someone like you, because he would come back downstairs with the rubber snake around his neck. And then take the rubber snake and toss it to someone.
Right. Lee Trevino on the first tee of the U.S. Open at Marion there in the playoff, throwing it at Jack. Jack was scared blankless.
You know what it is that I would much rather stand in front of a full-grown alligator than a snake?
Oh, I'll take the snake.
No. Gator. Let me tell you, man.
It's because they eat people.
Yeah,
No.
I would stand before the snake before I did the gator, because the gator could eat me. I'm scared of the snake, but I'm just bat blank fearful of the gator. JP Peterson, hope he's not scared to come on Miller and Moulton, because he's next here on the Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Is your video clear? Because my screen, we're blurry.
No, mine's clear.
Okay. And I will say no one said anything. So,
Mark, where'd they find this lady's briefcase with the animals?
Suitcase?
Or,
Bangkok, Thailand.
Thailand.
She flew from India to Thailand. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's an internet problem with the computer or with StreamYard, which it shouldn't be because we're locked in, but I can't help you.
yeah, it's happened in the last 20 or so minutes. It's out of our control.
Do you know that Steph Curry can't palm a ball or spin a ball in his hand?
You sure can shoot it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Tratharian, who are you talking about?
Otani.
Gotcha. I think if he played in the Eastern time zone, it'd be a much bigger story.
Correct.
Much bigger.
Yes. No, as you guys know, I'm a huge LeBron fan. That was one of the things that I hated about him going to LA. He would always kick off the doubleheaders.
I love him playing with his hat on backwards.
Nick Kyrgios.
Curious.
Oh, their lease is up in 2027. You were right. It's 27, not 26.
So they have 5.5 more seasons,
Yep.
right? Okay, so it's up after the 27.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's a thrill to have JP Peterson back on the show. He's host of the JP Peterson Show. His show is 10 to noon on fanstreamsports.com. fanstreamsports.com. You can download the app. He's also host of Lightning Hockey Night Live. JP, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Good morning, David and Mark. How are you fellas this morning?
Well, we are fine. You can also follow JP on FanStream JP.
All right, JP, thanks for coming on. Wanted to talk to you. You're obviously much more in tune with this Rays Stadium situation than even we are. As you mentioned, St. Petersburg's back in the game, but the game doesn't work in St. Petersburg, does it?
No, 100% does not work. And, I think back in the game is a relative term. There's so much misinformation and misreporting on this stadium situation. And also because, Stu Sternberg won't come out and do a press conference and tell people what exactly is going on because he can't. Because all he's ever done is just delay and negotiated bad faith with both Tampa and St. Petersburg. And poor Mayor Welch, he's a very nice man, but he's getting played just like the three mayors before him and the mayors in Tampa and everybody else that's tried to work with Stu on a stadium. I've had some people that have been doing the negotiations and been in the room with him over the past few years. Reach out recently and just say it's so frustrating because he just will not engage like a thoughtful, ethical businessman. And he's holding up development not only in a Tropicana Field site, which is not just about baseball. It's about historically black neighborhoods that need to be rebuilt, affordable housing, all these things that would really, really help out downtown St. Petersburg and help a lot of people. And the Rays have veto power, and they've been jerking around St. Petersburg for 5 years now. And this mayor, I predicted this as soon as the Sister City thing went away. I said, you watch, Sternberg's going to cozy up to St. Petersburg now, whisper in their ear and tell him he's going to stay. And he's just delaying because he makes a crap ton of money at Tropicana Field, doesn't care about whether the fans like the stadium or it's an accessible stadium, or doesn't even care if it's filled with Rays fans for his players. He prices out the local market, gouges the Yankee fans and Cardinal fans that come in. He's the worst owner in sports. How's that for an open?
Well, do you think whether anyone will ever say it publicly who's in a position of power or not, do you think that the end game is basically the powers that be in Tampa, St. Pete, either having to buy the team from them or why don't we just negotiate your exit early since your intent is, well, because it seems like, JP, he's just going to try to run out the clock, but the clock's got 5.5 seasons left. I mean, it's almost like, listen, how about we just move up this divorce proceeding? Let's not stay together for the kids till they go to college. No, seriously. Let's divorce now before high school, and you can go to Nashville or Charlotte or wherever you want. You write us the check. We can move on with our lives. You can move on with yours.
Yeah, that would be great, except he doesn't want to sell the team because he's making too much money. And you can't – the only person that can really force him out is Rob Manfred. And what's interesting is there's precedent here. They did it to Vince Namoli when he ran the team into the ground. And that's when Sternberg got control of it. To me, what Sternberg has done is way more egregious than what Moley did. And it's what's really weird is that Manfred sits here and bitches and moans about, oh, clock's ticking. You guys better get something done, Tampa or Hillsborough. Like we should be rushing to write a blank check and do the whole thing. Hillsborough County has offered for 5 years. You pay half, we pay half. We'll get this thing done in Ybor City. They had a whole design, a whole plan, and everything. And when Stu was asked to pay half, he took his ball and went home. And why Major League Baseball doesn't force this guy to get this deal done? The Rangers paid half for their new stadium. The Braves paid half for their new stadium. They've built entertainment districts around their stadiums that are having incredible success. If you've ever been to Atlanta's new stadium, Truist Field, with the Battery around it, it's an amazing template to use and could be easily replicated in Ybor City. And it would be a huge win for the city. It'd be a huge win for the Rays. And he would make a ton more money. It's a no-brainer business deal. I've talked to people that are that represent different buyers and sellers in franchise of sports, and they say, my God, there are people lined up to buy the Rays that want to get this stadium deal done. Why doesn't Major League Baseball just force him out? Because he's now been sued, Stu Sternberg, for a third time by his business partners for fraudulent activity. I mean, the things that this guy's allegedly done from a business standpoint, I'm not sure what St. Petersburg or Tampa wants to be in business with a guy who's this crooked. And why Major League Baseball allows him to keep doing this, I have no idea. But and right now with these lawsuits that are pending, one of them is set for a jury trial, which means depositions, and that means all of the books are going to be out in the open for the public to see. Major League Baseball is never going to let that happen. They're not going to let. So they have every reason, and I would think legal authority to remove him, and they're not doing it. And it's bizarre, beyond bizarre.
He's JP Peterson, host of the JP Peterson Show. It's 10 until noon weekdays, fanstreamsports.com, fanstreamsports.com. He's also, of course, associated with Lightning Hockey Night Live. You can follow JP on Twitter at FanstreamJP.
JP, what does your gut tell you Sternberg ultimately wants? Where does he want to be? Now, Tampa?
Well, he wants to be in Tampa, and that's a no-brainer. I mean, and Major League Baseball has said that they want the team in Tampa. And it's where the team is right now. There is 650,000 people within the 30-mile radius of drive of the Tropicana Field. That's less than half the next lowest number in baseball. Baseball has a rule and a guideline for building stadiums that you have to have at least 1.6 million people within the 30-minute drive because it's an urban game, right? You got to be there Monday through Thursday, lots of games in a row. So you got to have a huge population to pick from because everybody's not going to go to every game, right? Makes sense. The downtown Tampa, by 2026, 27, there's going to be 2.4 million people. And I'm not super smart or great at geography, but I can look at a map and say, there's probably going to be more growth to the east of Tampa than to the west of St. Petersburg. Unless we're, Dolphins and group are going to start buying tickets. That's not going to happen. So why would you spend $1 billion on a new stadium in a failed location? Move it to the middle of the market where the Lightning are. They've seemed to have some success selling tickets with 300 consecutive sellouts, and that's hockey. Nobody grew up playing hockey here. We all grew up playing baseball. And you move it to the middle of the market, put a state-of-the-art stadium in Ybor City, fill it with all type of luxury boxes and premium seating like everybody's doing, and he's going to make tons more money. But he doesn't want to risk it because he's printing money right now in Tropicana Field because he doesn't pay anything for that place. He's got over $300 million in revenues, keeps his payroll under $80 million, and he just prints money. So he's in no hurry to go anywhere.
Do you think the minority owners have something here? Because
Absolutely.
Because they combined, they own 9.6%, I think, of the franchise. But so you think one of these three suits has enough merit that Major League Baseball could step in and go, Stu, you got two choices, resolve it or we got to get rid of you?
Well, here's the thing. I've talked to people that are representing these partners, and there's 3 different lawsuits, and there's multiple counts in each one. And the judge in the first lawsuit ruled that one of those counts has to go to a jury trial. That's the one that that will be with the depositions and discovery. And the partners do not want to settle on that count. They're like, what they're seeking is his removal as the fiduciary partner, as the managing general partner. I mean, I could go through a litany of things that he's done that are unethical. I'll just say this main one. He got $375 million up front from Fox Sports Sun, Valley Sports Sun for their regional television deal. He finagled to get that money up front. He moved that money into a total separate company that only he owns. And he told his partners that they had to pay the tax bill on the money, the income that came in that they never got. Because when they asked for their distribution, he said, well, I need that money to run the club. So sorry, you're not getting any money, but you have to pay the tax bill. I mean, what a jerk. It's unethical. It's against his fiduciary responsibilities in the partnership agreement. And there's, 50 more underhanded things that he's done that he's post-dated documents that were supposed to be sent to the partners so they know what was going on with their money. I mean, just some really underhanded stuff that's alleged in these lawsuits. So, yes, I think at least this is what the lawyers tell me, that there's plenty of meat there in these lawsuits. They're not frivolous in any way, shape, or form. And the fact they only know 9.6% is part of the problem. It's because Sternberg has, like almost a monster, gone through the other partners and gotten them to sell our shares at like 15 cents on the dollar. I mean, it's kind of a complicated deal, so I won't bore you with the details, but that's basically the way he's been acting, and it's not in the fiduciary benefits of his partners. So, yeah, there's plenty there. There's plenty. And again, if I'm Tampa or St. Pete, why do you want to do business with a guy like this? I mean, he's clearly unethical in so many ways, allegedly.
Let's switch gears to the team that is not unethical and does things right in Tampa. That's the Lightning. Hey, they're going to make hard decisions. They've got some key players, again, that they're going to, the mid-level, those they lost a year ago that they went and acquired and made the run. What will be able to keep in this offseason?
Well, that's the big question. Right now, Brisebois is their GM is working hard to keep Nick Paul and keep Andre Palat. And that's all basically going to depend on how big their offers are outside, how big their free agent offers are outside, whether they want to take less money to stay here, because they're going to have to take less money to stay here, but that's what everybody does. Hedman did that. Stamkos started it. Hedman followed. Even Kucherov. All these guys, if you compare their contracts to some of the better players in the league, the elite players, it's definitely not up to snuff. Now, a lot of those guys play in Canada, where these contracts. When Stamkos took his contract, he took $8.75 instead of $12 million because it really was more take-home pay than he would have had in Toronto, and he didn't want to play in Toronto anyway. But these guys have taken less money, no state tax, as you guys know. So these other guys will probably do the same because they love playing here. I mean, the atmosphere that Mr. Vinnick, our owner, I've been working for the team. I can tell you everything is done first class. He flew out all the full-time employees to Colorado for a game last week. Then flew them back. He just gave every one of them $5,000 to give to pass on to a charity of their choice, $1.2 million. I mean, he's the best owner in sports by far. He creates an environment that the players love to play for him and love to play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, why wouldn't you want to live in hockey paradise here? So there's they've created a great culture here of guys taking less money to stay. But at some point, it's too much. You got to take the money if it's double what you're being offered here or can be offered here. So I think they're going to lose some guys, no question about it, but they're still going to have the core here. Vasilevsky and Kucherov and points, and Stamkos, who just had the best year of his career at age 32, 14 years in. They've got some, Sergachev, Chernak. They've got so many good young players as well. This team is set up for a long time to come.
JP, thanks for agreeing to do this. We appreciate it. Best of luck with your show today, 10 to noon, the JP Peterson Show on FanstreamSports.com. And you can follow JP on Twitter at FanstreamJP. JP, as always.
Always a pleasure to be on the Miller and Moulton Show. You guys are the best. I appreciate it, guys. And come on up and watch a game at our crappy stadium.
We have.
And we will.
And we'll look you up.
No emergency. We'll be here for 5 years in that trash can, so don't worry.
JP Peterson, entertaining 10 to noon daily. The JP Peterson Show, fanstreamsports.com. Follow him on Twitter at fanstreamjp.
Tin can's easy to get to from us. It's the one thing from living south. For those of you, for us, the Tampa St. Pete market, we've always been, this is really nice because we can get there at night. And we have reason why it doesn't work in Tampa.
Right.
But as Southwest Floridians, it works really well for us to sneak up to a game because it's an hour and a half.
Saves us 30, 40 minutes from where it is that everybody wants it to be.
That's an ugly dome. At least looks cool.
It does. It's actually, Marlin Stadium is fine. Really is. And big, wide concourses. You can see the game from if you're waiting in line for food or drink, you can turn around and you have a clear view of the game.
Because it's a baseball field.
Yes.
I love that.
It's a very nice baseball stadium that 47 of you have been to. That's the problem.
The Trop.
You think they'll work this out? Gut feeling?
Yes, because I don't think Major League Baseball ever wants to lose that market.
I don't think they do either, but they need it resolved quickly because they want expansion fast.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
They played their first 2 seasons, I thought, in the Expo Center at the fairgrounds. Then they moved to the Dome. And then they now went to Amalie in 96. But they played at the fairgrounds for at least a season. 1 season. Boy, we picked up 2 followers, David. If we pick up another 140, 156 by the end of the show, I win.
You got tomorrow still.
Kevin Love got married a couple days ago, and most of his former Cavs teammates came. If that 2017 Cavs team didn't have to deal with a freaking Kevin Durant on the Warriors, they probably would have won like multiple championships, and Kyrie would have stayed.
Why do you think Kyrie would have stayed? He's a pretty selfish dude. I mean,
who, Kyrie?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he left, that was ridiculous. You know,
I'm just saying, why do you think he would stay? Because there's nothing he's done in his career that proved that he's loyal to any team or anybody or anything but himself. I'm not trying to be an ass here. I'm being very.
But Mark, if they would have won back-to-back titles,
And then I think he would have left for the money.
no,
That's what most NBA players, that's what most players do. They get their rings, they get paid.
I think he left because he realized, oh yeah, there's no way we can beat this Warriors team. And he didn't know he was going to Boston. He got traded to Boston. I'm sure he knew, but
We should be doing a best of tomorrow, too.
hell, take the day off. I'll be here.
We've already committed.
Damn. You have 5 seconds. Is Kevin Love a Hall of Famer?
Not to me.
No.
Damn. Borderline.
Well, they just missed what looked like a pretty good point there. They came back in the middle of a point. I'm watching a guy hitting a shot between his legs.
Vamos. Bonus hour time.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour, Miller and Moulton. Final day of June. How about that? Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, 58 days away. You know, I get into arguments with people about the number of days.
How?
That apparently people count days differently. Like, to me, you know, the NFL season kicks off 10 weeks from today. That's 70 days away.
Yes.
Right? But some people count it as 71 because they count today as 1, tomorrow as 2.
Gotcha.
And so I don't. We're here.
Today's already happening.
Yeah, to me, today is like week 0. You know, and then so the count starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's 1. That's how I count it.
Gotcha.
But there are those, you know, text line, Twitch chat room who are always, I don't want to say arguing, but that they always have one more day than our count. But for what it's worth, our count is 58 days away from week 0, Nebraska, Northwestern.
And there are 11 games being played week 0. And I don't want to take up too much time with this.
That's fine.
But it is the bonus hour, so I'm going to have a little fun with you. Because
Okay.
our poll today is if you had to watch one sporting event this weekend,
Right.
which would you watch? And we have the Live Golf, we have Wimbledon, and we have the USFL Championship game on.
And
there.
we specifically left off NASCAR because we figured it would win in a runaway.
And maybe not over USFL. Looking at the poll now, maybe we should have included it, but we did it for a specific reason. It was also, David and I both love Wimbledon. And tennis is a dying sport.
Whew, is it ever?
And we're kind of proving a little something to ourselves that it's a dying sport with this poll question, because that's coming last out of the three.
Right. It's not just tennis, it's Wimbledon.
Right. So I have the list of the week 0 games, and you asked me earlier in the show, week 0 USFL championship game. And I want to do this. You can play at home. This is for the home audience as well, or the car audience as well. Would you rather watch the Birmingham Stallions and Philadelphia Stars play in the USFL championship, or Nevada, New Mexico State, Austin P, Western Kentucky, Idaho State, UNLV, Connecticut and Utah State, Wyoming at Illinois?
All right.
At least I move with that one. He didn't speak,
right,
but at least considered it. Duquesne and Florida State.
We've got friends at Illinois, so that's why I raised an eyebrow.
Charlotte and Florida Atlantic. Florida A&M, North Carolina, North Texas and Utah, and Vandy in Hawaii if you need to get all your money back at 10:30 p.m.
Ooh, that's a little.
Now, Hawaii
because,
taking an SEC team on, a bad one at home.
Yes, that's tough. Now I have to admit I like the doubleheader. I think early I could watch the USFL title game and then transition right to Vandy, Hawaii. That's what I would want, but I have to choose. Wow.
I mean, are any of the, because I did not know, Nebraska Northwestern is a 12:30 game. Your triple header would probably be, I mean, if the 4 o'clock, Wyoming and Illinois is better than Duquesne and Florida State.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what sport is this again?
College football.
This is week 0 college football.
Week 0.
I thought you were talking about stuff this weekend. I was very confused.
But no, David just asked USFL or week 0 games. And as you look at the week 0 games, there is a strong point being made by David Moulton of what game's worth watching.
What about UFC 276?
It's another, we could have put that on, but we went with what we went.
But all I'm telling you is you had a little bit more with that comment, that flippant comment. Would you rather watch week 0 or USFL? As I'm looking at week 0, USFL is a strong case.
All right. It's Wyoming at Illinois. Bielema, year 2, Illinois.
Yeah, and I mean the primetime game, the 8:15 games, Florida A&M at North Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, Lane's not coaching Florida A&M too. Not FAU, it's FAMU.
It's FAMU. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I like me some Mac Brown and all, but I don't know if I can watch that.
So there's not a whole lot there. And I mean, obviously, Florida State Duquesne's must watch just because.
Really?
Oh, right now, anything Florida State to me is much watching. It's a bad team. The way they've been playing. And
well, they did lose to Jacksonville State.
Thank you very much.
So although Jacksonville State's a really good FCS program, but I hear you.
Yeah, Florida State had to schedule some bad FCS opponents to make sure they could get a win.
What are we doing scheduling a top 10 FCS team? Who made this schedule? My USFL title game's holding up pretty well.
I thought it would.
I mean, obviously Nebraska Northwestern would win, but you could argue the second best game's Vandy at Hawaii. And you got to stay up till 10:30 to watch it.
The good news is most of you will just bet it.
Right. So why you favored?
I don't have a spread. You
can't believe there's not a spread. On
I'm sure there
0.
is, but I just had the list of games up.
Take Hawaii in the points. I'm guessing it's small. It's like 3.5, 4 is my guess.
Yeah, the Stars, they have those McDonald's All-American DHL uniforms.
Yes, they do. They've always had them. Miller and Moulton on this final day of June. NBA free agency begins tonight at 6 o'clock. Not a lot of big names that are free agents this year in the association.
Just a quick line update. I'm seeing it right now as the consensus is Vandy is a 5.5-point favorite.
Oh, got to take the points. Got to take the points. 5.5, huh?
That's what I see.
I get a home dog. 5.5. Tell you what, though, Vandy kids get a nice trip out of the deal. Coach, this was a great job by you, Coach.
Can we leave a week early?
We don't have a game next week, do we? This is fantastic. Miller and Moulton. Day 3, it's expected to be the last day of Deshaun Watson's arbitration hearing, in which, well, whichever side doesn't get what they want can appeal, but the appeal is to Roger Goodell or to a person of his choosing. I asked this question, though, of you earlier, and you quickly said no. I asked the question very simply. I'm going to complicate the question now. I asked you because the precedent that's out there, and the thought is that this former federal judge who's hearing this case, that she is going to go with past NFL precedent. And that means that she will not side with the NFL. That because the NFL wants it to be indefinite or a minimum of a year. And Watson's side is making the case this has been the punishment in the past, blah, 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 blah. And so it's somewhere between 6 and 10 games is what precedent says the suspension should be. And so I asked you, do you think there's any chance that Goodell accepts a suspension of less than a year?
And I don't. I think he would enact his commissioner exempt list or do whatever he had to do to have Watson gone for this upcoming season.
And I said to you, when he does that, it will be war. And not just between Deshaun Watson and the NFL, with the NFLPA. And the war will be going public about the behavior of the owners. And that is the one thing that I'm wondering. Does Goodell want to save, from a PR standpoint, the attempt to publicly humiliate as many as 3 NFL owners for their past behavior? Can
I stop you? Just help me out with, you just mean a PR campaign from a public humiliation, that it would be a PR campaign.
Absolutely. So, and get it all out there. And believe me, there's a lot of media that will be more than happy to print it all. Plus, it'll be racial. Do not kid yourself. Black player, white owners. That is the potential war that could take place here. It'd be on 2 fronts, race and behavior. And what is Goodell's job above all else?
To protect his owners. It's protecting the shield, but the shield is those 31 owners.
And that is why, for as much if you're Goodell and you disagree with and hate this decision that could come down, that he could be playing his first home game for the Browns on Monday Night Football against the Bengals, potentially. But the alternative is this gets public and it gets nasty.
And remember, there's one other side of this from the owner's standpoint. The owners despise this contract. They're not on the side of the Cleveland Browns here.
No, not at all.
So I think with certain owners, that factors in as well. It's not any part of a PR campaign, but it's certain owners telling Goodell, no, hammer these guys.
Okay. So you think that there may be some that go, hey, we fight the fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, one of the 3 owners that Watson and the NFLPA are going to go after is Robert Kraft, who's one of the two most influential owners and is beloved by Goodell. I mean, of all the owners, if Goodell had to throw himself on a grenade, of all the owners, the first two grenades he would dive on would be Jera and Robert Kraft.
There is no doubt.
So,
but he works for all 31 in the Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Well, what if Robert Kraft calls him up and says, make the deal?
That will be fascinating. I still think ultimately he's going to want the longer suspension because enough owners will want that. But it brings up an incredible point in this story. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Canada relief, the NFL will not be happy with a 6 to 8 game suspension at all. They want it to be a minimum of a year.
Oh, he was mad.
We'll find out, Mello. We'll find out what they can live with. If they don't get a year, can they live with it?
Wimbledon really is like the Masters of tennis. I think.
Mello, here's my thing. If I'm the NFL, I need to be able to reserve the right to suspend him again.
Yep.
Because if this goes, if these civil suits go to trial next year, then and stuff comes out, I got to be able to suspend him again. If I'm the NFL.
God, I love the 3-year Letterman guy.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Breyer retired today. His family invented ice cream, and he owns an ice cream company bearing his father's name. But for reasons that make no sense to me, decided to be a judge. In any event, thank you for your service, Justice Breyer. Have a double scoop to celebrate. Some guy just repeats it.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts, all coming up in roughly 20 minutes' time. Mention floridasportsnetwork.com if you miss any part of the show. That's where you go. Download our podcasts at floridasportsnetwork.com. Felipe does a great job pretty much right after every hour. He gets the hour that we just broadcast up on the podcast, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's also where we post our poll question. And our poll question is, if you had, keyword had, to watch one sporting event this weekend, and we gave you these 3 choices, which one would you watch? LIV Golf, which has 8 of the top 40 players in the world playing this week, while the John Deere Classic has 1. Daniel Berger, that's it. I mean, the LIV Golf is actually much better this week. Not that anyone cares, but it's much better.
It's not close.
No. The USFL title game is Sunday night on Fox. Philadelphia and Birmingham, for those that might be interested. And then there's Wimbledon. Those are your 3 choices, floridasportsnetwork.com. The USFL title game is winning. Did you, and we have not talked about this yet today. We earlier in the show talked about Wimbledon, and yesterday a bunch of upsets. 3rd seed on the men's side, 3 top 10s on the women's side. Americans are doing pretty well on both sides of the draw. By the way, Venus Williams last minute, 42 years of age,
Entered the mixed doubles.
Yeah, I mean, like 20 minutes like before the deadline type deal. entered the mixed doubles. How about that? So, did you hear about this match yesterday at Wimbledon? 4 hours, 5 sets, a men's match. Alejandro Fokina against Yuri Vesely. They go to a 5th set tiebreaker. New this year to Wimbledon is you played a 10 in the tiebreak, and you must win by 2. So I think it was Fokina loses the 8-7 point. So now he's down double match point at 9-7. But in frustration, when he lost the point, and he's on one of these little side courts, not, the big stadium.
Right.
He hits a ball up into the air in frustration, and it actually leaves the court. Now, they have enough tennis balls to play the next point and all that. But he gets a code violation. He had gotten a code violation 3.5 hours earlier. So now 4 hours and 10 minutes, 9-7 in the 5th set breaker, second code violation, not the same violation.
But second code violation, that's how the rules read. 2 code violations equal a point deducted.
Penalty.
Yeah.
So 9-7 becomes 10-7. Game, set, match for the opponent on a point that wasn't played. Now, there was some debate just on the penalty itself. It's like, hold on a second. All right, if you get the same code violation twice, it's definitely a point penalty. But it's not a guarantee that if you get 2 different, warnings, if you will. It's not like getting 2 yellow cards
or 2 tackles. Right.
Right. So in theory, he could have gotten the whatever violation they called it, and it not led to a point penalty. But the chair umpire decides 4 hours and 10 minutes, 9-7 in the 5th set tiebreaker, point penalty, game, set, match. That's it. It's over. No recourse.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm not surprised by the chair umpire ruling that way because they're stuffy English. But no, come on.
Right.
They've a history of this type of...
I understand that.
The generations of acting this way.
I understand. First off, he's the one that gave the penalty. I mean, it's not one of the other linesmen that came running, which, by the way, has already happened in the tournament. It was like 10 minutes into a match. One player said something under his breath, and one of the lines people ran over, told the chair umpire what they said, and he got a code violation, what have you, which then proceeded to have him just go nuts at this lines person. Like, anybody came here to see you. Okay, blah, 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 blah. You leave me alone. Oh, yeah, it got ugly. I think he spit in that line person's direction at one point. But could you have... a rule's a rule. Hey, you're the guy. Hey, golf, you don't sign your card in the right area. Okay. You get right. I love this about you. I could beat you about the head and chest with a 4-iron.
I can't even look at him right now.
No. But so first off, could you adhere to the letter of the law? I mean, because, he hit the ball out of the stadium, if you will, even though it's The
Indians win the pennant.
So could you have done that?
No.
By rule, you're right. You're more right than wrong.
But I would give them a code violation if they were separate. I'd say, look at them and go, you understand we could have this, but come on. This is the All England Lawn and Tennis Club,
right?
After all,
you could have just let it go also because it was 9-7 in the 5th set breaker. 4 hours and 10 minutes.
I'm guessing if you let it go,
right,
you as your job are going to be brought up in front of your
right,
and you're going to be held and have to answer as to why. You could have simply given the code violation and let the man play.
Yes, you also could have just It's the old line of Babe Ruth chasing after the naked woman, and he was naked on the train car, and all the media members looked at one another and said, too bad we didn't see that, or else we'd have to report on it. I mean, you could have, as the umpire, just watched the ball sail out of the court and go, good thing I didn't see that. Well, needless to say, McEnroe and others were like, this is ridiculous. You can't end the match this way. Of course, McEnroe, who got defaulted out of an Australian Open once in a match he was winning, by the way, and he got kicked out of the tournament because he had too many code violations, and he said something.
He was a code violation.
Well, there's no doubt. He was acting horribly, and he muttered a few expletives underneath his breath, walking away from the chair umpire. The chair umpire heard it, defaulted him.
Under his breath, specifically loud enough for that chair umpire to hear.
Yeah.
John McEnroe never said anything without being sure the person that was intended to hear it, whether under his breath or not.
Right. But it's one of those things like in baseball. You can say some things to the umpire if you're not staring them in the face and saying it. Whether you're the pitcher, the catcher, the batter, or the manager.
Right.
But once you face them and say it, you're gone. You can turn around and mutter under your breath, you blankety blank. How many calls you going to miss today? If you got your back to him, okay, he may just bark back at you. If you look at him and say it, they'll toss you.
But if you look at him and say that was a strike, they can toss you.
I wish I could have seen John McEnroe.
Well, there's plenty of video out there.
Oh, yeah.
While you're at it, look up Connors and Nastasi.
I mean,
but do you think the umpire was in the right?
Well, of course he was in the right. It's a rule, but no.
Okay, I'm just asking. You, mister, you got to sign your scorecard in the designated area, or you deserve to be disqualified from a major when you're one shot off the lead entering the final round, and you were okay with it. So I'm just wondering, do you think the linesman operated properly, or did...
No, because there was two separate code.
Yes.
He had an out and he didn't take it. That's the problem I have with it. So, if he would have smacked another ball earlier, then you've got no choice. But he had an out, he didn't take it.
McEnroe, not the only commentator, by the way, to criticize the umpire. In fact, most all of them did. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Bianchi wrote an article today. You can't afford the Shaq. You can't afford.
He's against it.
I can't read it because they don't
is
let
that
me.
what
Shaq. The title of the article is "Sorry, Shaq, but you can't afford to buy the Orlando Magic." Here's my notes column. And this content is reserved for subscribers. So knock yourself out, subscribers. Oh, you can't lose this game there, young lady. Now you're in big trouble. You're still in trouble, just not as big. Correct, Paul. It's not even that because the code violations were two different things. He could have walked away from it. He had an out. Oh, you got it back to deuce and you hit that shot? That wasn't very good.
Deuce. Quiet, please.
Oh, wow. She just beat her.
Ten seconds.
Going for the ace
Let.
right there.
First service.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We will do a show tomorrow, best of on Monday. So we'll take a 3-day weekend, as will, I'm assuming, most every one of you. Hopefully.
Hopefully you're taking a 4-day weekend.
Yeah, whether it be Friday or Tuesday.
I think a lot of people have the week off.
Next week, you mean?
This week and next week. I just think I didn't seem to be as busy
I agree with
in
that.
places this week.
I agree with you.
That's all. Just getting that feeling that people taking a week vacation, 2-week vacation. This is the time to do it if you live around here. With the, the school break that we get if you have kids in school. I mean, your school ended last week. We start next week, or so it seems.
The break really is the same as what we had as kids.
No, it really isn't.
Sure. I mean,
okay. My kid got out in June. They start the second week in August. I went and started after Labor Day, David.
Well, but when in June?
Early.
So you
I didn't have this New Jersey get out of school July 4th weekend crap. I don't know what world that is.
We
were out first week of June. If it was a really long year because of snow days and the like, you may get to double digits in June. But I never went to school. In fact, when I started going to the cat, we got out in May in high school.
Hold on. There are people getting out of school July.
No. It's called sarcasm. Oh. But David went to school. He got out late June.
Yeah.
But is that
late June every time?
Days.
No,
not really. No, the New Jersey school year, we didn't start till the Tuesday after Labor Day.
Which is the same time that I always started.
And
Okay,
it always went until it went past Father's Day every year. It usually around June 20th to June 22nd is when the school year ended. Now we'd get a week off in April for, a spring break, and they took a 4-day weekend in November for a teachers convention in Atlantic City every year. So there might have been, and in the Northeast, they observe every holiday imaginable. 2 Jewish holidays. I mean, you name it. In the Northeast, they observed it. So that could have added into
it. Probably, I would honestly think, because even at the public schools in Michigan, you didn't get Jewish holidays. Where I live, you did not get Jewish holidays off.
And we got them both off.
Right.
Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. And maybe that added to it.
It could be.
But our 180 school day per year started the day after Labor Day and ended in the early June 20th.
And I think in Florida, they get a lot more days off during the year. The built-in hurricane days that you just all of a sudden get a random day off. I know why they start when they do. I've talked to principals. I get it. It's just, I had 3 months off. I had June, July, and August off for most of my childhood, not 2.
And I had 2.5. So that's why, I had the last week or so of June, 2 months, and then, handful of days at the start of September. So,
yeah, we would typically go, let's say August 21st to June 6th, like that.
Right. I got you. And you don't get as much time off that way. That's exactly the point that we were saying.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
I just don't know if that's us or them.
I have no idea.
Computer's older than me, so.
Yes, it is. We start in 1908 when Siegel, at 41 years and 3 months old, would throw a no-hitter. Oldest player to record one.
How old?
41 years, 3 months. It was his third no-hitter.
I got to look up Nolan's 7th, see how old he was.
You do that. I'll go to 1929 when Bobby Jones wins his third U.S. Open title in a 36-hole playoff at Winged Foot. 1934, a sad day in the world of sports. It was when George Richards paid $7,952.08 to buy the Portsmouth Spartans and move the team to Detroit. He would rebrand them the Lions, where they would suck forever. 1938, Superman first appears in DC Comics Action Series issue number 1. 1940, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service forms. 52, David, because the guy moved from radio to television.
Ooh, that was a big day. Nolan, by the way, 44 when he threw his 7th.
Well,
right.
Gotcha.
At the time, obviously, he was oldest. It's like, Phil broke the
major record, right?
Orville Moody or whoever it was who had the older. Julius Boros, I think, had the oldest until Phil.
Today in 1955, the Johnny Carson Show debuts on CBS television. 1962, Sandy Koufax no-hits the Mets' first of 4 career no-hitters that he would throw. 1965, Pete Rozelle grants ownership of the Atlanta Falcons to Rankin Smith Sr., pays then record $8.5 million for the franchise. Today in 1970, this is weird to me. Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium opens today. We're kind of knee-deep into the season, are we not?
Obviously, construction run a little bit schedule.
1971, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was released. 1975, the Jackson 5 move from Moulton to records and had to change their name to the Jacksons because Motown owned the name the Jackson 5. 1979, David, I think we were doing a lot of drugs because Good Times was released, and that would be the song of the year.
Really?
Yeah, the Billboard Song of the Year in 79 was Good Times by Chic. Today in 1982, Seth Everett named the Devil by fan balloting. 1992, the Singles movie soundtrack was released. Maybe the best movie soundtrack of all time. I will put it in top 5. Also, it was the first ever pay bathrooms in the U.S. It was 25 cents in New York City to use the potty. 93, Chris Webber is the first pick by the Orlando Magic, then traded to Golden State. 94, Tanya Harding is banned for life by the U.S. Ice Skating Federation. 99, Elton Brand is the first pick by the Bulls. 2013, Nathan McKinnon goes first overall to the Lanch. And it was 2 years ago that Messi scored his 700th goal. Tony Fernandez, the only one not with us, the former baseball player, born today in 1962. Those that are still with us, Stanley Clark is celebrating his 71st birthday. If you don't know who that is, go get the album School Days. You'll thank me later. David Allen Greer is 66. Mitch Richmond is 57, as is Steve Duquesne. Mike is 56, and Michael Phelps is 37 years old today.
I was with Mike Tyson on his 19th birthday. He was in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Was he fighting?
He was training. So that's when he was spending a lot of time with Kevin Rooney. We did a feature. I was an intern. We did a feature on Mike Tyson.
How scary was he?
He was, believe it or not, a little pudgy. I mean, his thighs were, I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, growing up, Robert Newhouse, the Cowboys fullback, had the biggest thighs any of us had ever seen. Yeah, Tyson's thighs were bigger. And the voice threw you off too. I mean, you know, if you think it's high pitched now, think 19.
Right.
It was like, I mean, this ferocious, and Kevin Rooney's telling us he's going to be heavyweight champion of the world, and he sounded like Minnie Mouse. I mean, it was like, man, this is quite a picture we have here. A couple of things I'll just throw out there. Baryshnikov defected today to the U.S. in 74. Do the Right Thing, 33 years ago today, released in movie theaters.
All right. I missed that one.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, we go to kindergarten kind of for the good, where a teacher by the name of Kim Hamilton taught kindergarten. She retired a while back, but her daughter helped set up something pretty cool. All of her last class just graduated high school, and all of those kindergartners showed up to see their kindergarten teacher. That was her last class of teaching after they graduated high school. Pretty good job by the daughter to set up something like that.
Nice.
For the we're done into a tree, but before he could come around, well, he jumped into the room. They finally took him down. He did get moving away from the officers. So now on top of damage, he resisted an officer, but he was driving on a suspended license for the get-go. So welcome to the Lee County inmates. And finally, we go where some wrong person was caught, stealing cash from the chip jar of Five Guys. NBC-2.com story. You can watch the video, see if you can figure out who this really horrible was that was stealing money out of a tip jar, taking away the money of the hardworking employees. And you can help put this guy away. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 30th, 2022.
8 baseball games today. Yankees and Astros series, this time in Houston. Think about what the Astros have just done. They've gone 4-2 against the Yankees and Mets on the road in their last 6 games. And now they'll begin a 4-game series with the Yankees in Houston. They would be 8 games behind the Yankees. They're 20 games above 500, and they'd be 8 back of the Yankees in the standings. But Houston just kind of letting the Yankees know last weekend that, you guys are crushing it. You're good. You're terrific. You might be great. But we may be there in October, just so you know. Get a dose of our pitching. It's pretty good. Twins and Guardians, the lone afternoon game today.
Good one.
Chance for the Guardians to move within a game of the Twins. Braves and Phillies wrap up their series. Atlanta's won the first two. They're now just 3 back of the Mets. Rays are in Toronto to face the Jays. FS1 tonight at 10 o'clock. If you want to watch some sports, Padres, Dodgers, and they're separated by just a game and a half in the West.
Our poll question today was, if you had to watch one sporting event this weekend, which would it be? Wimbledon, Live Golf, or the USFL Championship game, which is winning right now with just a little less than half of the vote. Some of the write-in candidates that were put in there were, I would drink poison as opposed to watch any of those three.
Wow, that's a little severe.
And it was someone who goes by the Twitter handle of Flower Girl. I drink poison was her response.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we did put 3 choices that we didn't think were, on anybody's bucket list, but we didn't realize it was that bad.
Right. That's why the had was in all caps. We were trying to.
Right. That you were like, it would get you out on parole, or, it would
put some emphasis on that particular word.
Right. Make someone in your life happy that you sat and watched this with them, just something like that. But poison. It's a little severe. NBA free agency at 6 o'clock. There's not huge names because, nobody thinks that James Harden and Bradley Beal are really free agents. Even they both have declined their options, and technically at 6 o'clock tonight, they could sign with anyone. But most everyone feels that this is just business. Harden is giving the Sixers time to use the cap room on other players, and then they could go bird rights with him and sign him for whatever they want. And that Beal turned down his option because he's going to sign a 5-year contract worth more per year than what it was he was going to play this season for. So that was just a business decision is what Beal did. But I mean, technically, I guess, they'll be free agents for however long.
And I'm never going to get on someone for making the most money possible. But I really, Bradley Beal, I mean, Felipe, you're the NBA guy. Is he ever going to play a meaningful basketball game in his career?
I mean, I hope so.
That's not what I'm asking you. Do you think the Washington Wizards are going to contend for an Eastern Conference title
in the next 5 years?
Probably not. No. I'm sorry, biased. Don't money. Sign Beal. Come on.
Bradley Beal turned down a $36.4 million option because the expectation is he is going to sign a 5-year Supermax offer. And there's different levels of Supermax depending on what caliber player you are in all-star bids and all NBA teams and what team and all that. But Bradley Beal qualifies for a 5-year, $248 million Supermax deal. That's 49.6 a year.
I mean, who's going to give him that money?
Nobody.
But the thing is, nobody can. That's it. Your team and your Supermax, you get to offer him 1 year and more per year than anyone else in the league can offer, whether they have the cap room or not. But, forget the whole is he a $50 million a year player, but you're right. I mean,
I look, I don't begrudge any athlete for taking all money.
Right.
But when you're talking about $500 million, at some point, don't you just say, I could take a little less and maybe win?
Here's the thing, though. In the NBA, these players feel, and with good reason, they have so much power. I'll take the money from Washington. I can force my way out anytime I want.
If he takes a little bit less from Miami,
why? He could play a year and a half in Washington and force his way to Miami in 2024. That's how the NBA player thinks these days. And the evidence supports him. See you tomorrow, Miller and Moulton. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer,